Bring the checks over here cause it cashes. Tried to put me in a box, but I'm cashless.
Yo, hey, yo, hey, yo, hey, yo.
In effect.
Fluent and chill in the building.
We are
Haley
here.
will be joining us momentarily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Jay, while we're waiting for Haley,
mm-hmm.
I made a mistake last week.
What happened?
I made a mistake last week. I misspoke. It happens in the heat of the moment, get all excited, start saying stuff. So, it was brought to my attention that I made a mistake. So I want to correct that mistake.
All right.
So I was talking about Udonis Haslem and how he, I don't believe, in my opinion, every team can do what they want. But I said, in my opinion, I don't think the Miami Heat should have retired his jersey. And I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to get to more of that in a second. But I gave some statistics. And at the end of my list of statistics, I said for his career. And that was incorrect. That was for this season. That was for this season. I said 3 points, whatever he's shooting, 37% for this season.
Right.
So that was incorrect because I said career. I misspoke. That was for this season. So I want to correct. So I want to give you his stats for his career so that we're clear. So whoever does the clips and the edits they won't. But here's the correction. Here's the correction. For his career, 7.5 points per game, 6.6 rebounds per game, 0.8 assists, 0.9 turnovers, 0.5 steals. I paused on that turnover more than assist for a reason. 0.5 steals, 0.3 blocks, 48.9% from the field, 75.6% from the free throw line, and a whopping 12.7% from three. Those aren't statistics of an all-time great. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, but he did so much for the franchise. He led them in rebounds. Cool. So he led them in rebounds. Awesome. So where does it end? Where does it end? Because here's a guy who we should honor then as well, because he just announced his retirement. And let me give you some of his Miami statistics. You ready for this one?
I'm listening.
On Whiteside, sixth all time in offensive rebounds for the Miami Heat. Sixth all time in defensive rebounds for the Miami Heat. Sixth all time. He's their sixth leading all-time rebounder of all time. But wait, there's more.
Right.
He's also third all-time in blocks. So that's already more than what Haslem has done for the Miami Heat. He's first in rebounds per game, and he's second in blocks per game, only to Alonzo Mourning. So I feel that if we're going to, in fact, retire Haslem's number, then we need to retire Hassan Whiteside, because they have about the same accolades, which is none. And they have done the same amount of great, wonderful, all-time things. In fact, Hassan has done more than Udonis in a much shorter time. So please, let's retire the number 21 for Hassan Whiteside, who announced his retirement. Bon voyage. We'll have the ceremony coming up next month. Wait, I brought some more to the table.
I'm listening.
We're going to retire Haslem's number for all he did for Miami Heat and the Heat culture. Then why did we retire Michael Jordan's number? He did nothing for the Heat. He did nothing for Heat culture. Why the hell did you retire his number? All he did was what? Sweep him out of the first round of the playoffs? 3-0, by the way, before there was a 7-game series. He didn't do anything. I think we should take him down. But I guess now I look at it, the Heat retire everybody's number, because Shaq's number is retired, Hassan Whiteside's number retired, Wade's number retired, who I agree with. There's got like 7 numbers retired. 7, 8, 9, 10. Just retire every. You know what? Jason Capono leads the Heat all time in 3-point percentage. They should probably retire his number too. Let's go around the league. Tell me if we should retire these numbers. Doc Rivers for Atlanta?
No.
But he's all-time leader in assists. You got to do it. What about Tree Rollins?
No, even though he's their all-time shot block leader. Yes,
He's
he
their
is.
all-time shot blocker. What about Amika Okafor?
But Tone, wait a minute, Tone. No, but keep going.
All-time rebound leader. What about Muggsy Bogues? He's Charlotte's all-time assist leader.
And his jersey should be retired with the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay, there you go. What about Artist Gilmore? All-time blocks leader for the Bulls. He should be, and he was an all-star. He was a great player for those years that he played for the Bulls. Hey, he only played 6 or 7 years, but right. Hey, they're retiring Shaq's number. He only played 4 years for the Magic, so they should retire his number. Hey, hold on. Let me the list. Haley, you're a Golden State Warriors fan, right?
Yes,
we got to retire O'Donnell Foyle's number, right? Because he's the all-time blocks leader for the Warriors. Got to do it. Hold on, there's more. Dwight Howard is his number in Orlando is not retired yet. He's the all-time leader blocks.
It will be.
You will be. You absolutely. They're slow to retire numbers. What about Jameer Nelson then too? We should retire him. He's the Magic's all-time assist leader. What about Nick Anderson? Nick Anderson, oh my gosh, Nick Anderson is the all-time Orlando Magic steals leader and has an iconic moment, stealing the ball from Michael Jordan in the game that clinched the Eastern Conference for the Orlando Magic against the Bulls, or sorry, the second round against the Bulls when Michael came back as 4-5 and then switched to 23. Got to retire Nick Anderson's number. Chris Bosh in Toronto is the all-time leader in rebounds and blocks. Got to retire him. Kyle Lowry, assists and steals, all-time leader. No, they won't. DeMar DeRozan, all-time leader in points and games played. Well, you got to retire his number. My point is, if we start retiring numbers based on leading one category for a team or a franchise or what they did, no. That's why I keep saying, and please get this through everybody that I talk to, I don't think anyone's number should retire. You know how I feel about that.
I do understand how you feel.
You want to honor a player because he was there for 20 years? Cool. There's tons of room to honor him on a Ring of Honor. Retiring the numbers to me is ridiculous, especially a guy. I'm sorry. He's a mid-level player. He is a role player. And I feel, you could disagree. I feel unless you're an all-time great, that honor, much like the Hall of Fame, should not be bestowed on you.
Now, if you're an all-time great, so let's rewind. So you make it sound like it's one thing, Tone, because let's not leave out the fact that Udonis Haslem started on their championship team, which won the NBA championship the first year. He started on that team.
Absolutely.
And by the way, this is an undrafted guy. This isn't a guy who was drafted. This is an undrafted guy who started on the Miami Heat. So he already defeated the odds. So
awesome.
I believe it was in year 3 that he started for them, an undrafted guy.
Who else was on that team?
Shaq was on that team. Dwayne Wade was on that team. Lonzo Mourning was on that team. All of those, which would compound Udonis Haslem, because all these great players on that team, here's this undrafted guy who's starting, who's an integral part of them winning, and who, by the way, in the clincher in Game 6,
could they live without him or Wade?
Well, I'm not. Well,
yeah, exactly. So that's why.
No, Tone, that's not the same thing. It's not the same. No, it isn't. We're not comparing Dwayne Wade as a player to Udonis Haslem. We're talking about Udonis Haslem as a player for the Miami Heat organization and what he did for this organization. So in addition to him being second all-time behind Dwayne Wade in games played, he's their all-time leading rebounder. He's second behind Dwayne Wade.
A bunch of guys that lead their teams and stuff.
Right,
and 20 guys. There's more. There's more, by the way. I didn't give you the full list.
But you know what you didn't do, Tone? You didn't give me those guys who not only led their teams in things. You didn't give me those guys who were integral in them winning NBA championships.
Absolutely.
Not only was he a starter on that team that won it in 06. He was a starter on that team that won it in 12 too. He was a starter on that team who won it in 13. Started games for them. So 100%.
Chris Bosh, LeBron James, and Dwayne Wade.
Right. Absolutely, with those guys. So even with those guys, to say that Udonis Haslem, who is an undrafted player, so we can't minimize how important that is. A guy who, at the average pro career for a drafted guy, is 4 years. This guy is undrafted, spent 20 years with an organization, and to do everything that he did for that organization. The amount of games that he played, the amount of minutes that he played. He's in the top 10 all-time in Miami Heat history in points. He's their all-time leading rebounder. Started on championship teams. Absolutely raised his jersey to the Raptors. 100%.
No.
He is, and on top of that, he is from Miami. Absolutely raise
I don't
his
care if
jersey
his
to the rest.
name is Miami.
Hell yeah.
I don't
Hell
care
yes.
if his name is Miami. You're a mid player. Period.
No,
Sorry,
he was,
that honor
he was
for
a,
my opinion.
he's a
In my
mid player.
opinion, that is an honor that should be bestowed on the best of the best. So no,
For
Nick,
that organization, Tone, not the best all
Nick-
time. We're talking about the best for that organization. For the
He's-
Miami Heat,
he's the
one of
best
the best
for that
players.
organization.
He's one of the best players that they've ever had.
Jay, is he a top 10 player for Miami?
Is he a
Like
top
as
10
far as his actual playing goes, not his longevity. Is he a top 10 player?
No.
Is he a top 10 player? Let's discuss that for a second, H Boogie. So
Okay.
let's look back at the guys that played for the Miami Heat. Is he better than Dwayne Wade?
No.
No.
How about James?
Nope.
No.
Morning,
No.
No.
Bam Bam,
Nope. Oh,
Buckets.
No.
Fluent
No.
might. No, Fluent might. Okay. No,
Okay.
definitely
So
not.
so James no. So Wade no. James no. Morning no. Bam Bam no. How about Buckets?
No.
How about Chris Bosh?
No.
No.
Hardaway?
No.
Glenn Rice?
No.
That's 7 guys.
Eddie Jones? No.
Eddie, I
Jamal
was about to say.
No.
I was about to say Eddie Jones. Eddie Jones.
I think this is where it gets murky. This is where you can like take
Eddie Jones played for the Miami Heat Tone for what? 3 years?
Dude ain't better than Mario Chalmers.
No, this is ridiculous.
We
No,
can't
Tone.
do that, Fluent.
Yes, yes, H. Yes,
He's not.
H. Yes,
I
H,
think
he's a
he
top 10
belongs
player
right
all time
around-
for the Miami Heat. Yes,
Okay.
he is. Yes, he's a top 10 player all time for the Miami Heat for what he did for them. Yes, he is.
Hey,
Okay.
Gary Payton was on that team that won a chip. Let's retire his number 2. Like it's for me. Again, you have to understand people. I don't want anyone's number retired. So
Yeah.
for them to do see, I'm thinking they're going to do Hassan Whiteside. Sorry, let me get rid of this. Thank you for retiring Hassan Whiteside. But no one put you on a team. I don't know that you retire so much as you've been retired, but anyways. But no, Nick Collison, Rudy T as a player. There's so many numbers that are retired that I'm just like, what are you doing? And then there's other ones where they got nobody retired and thinking there hasn't been anybody.
Tone, I think your biggest problem when like for example, when you talk about retiring Shaq's number, retiring Shaq was the first big time free agent that they've ever had, that they traded for.
Orlando?
I mean, he wasn't a free agent. He wasn't a free agent, but not just Orlando, but in Miami, he changed the culture in Miami. They now became a legit championship contending team when they got Shaquille O'Neal. And in addition to them becoming a legit championship contending team, they actually won it with him. We can't discount that. With that, him finishing in the league MVP.
I'm not knocking Shaq.
In 3 years, him and what he did for that actual team. Same. I'm not saying that Udonis Haslem was Shaq good. I'm not saying that he was Dwayne Wade good. I'm not saying that he was James good. What I am saying though is he was as awesome and as integral at what Miami is today. What Miami is today, I am not sure that that's going on if Udonis Haslem ain't on that crew. If he's not a part of that organization, 100%. I know how you feel. I know how you feel about retiring jerseys, Tone. I do. I know how you feel about retiring jerseys. But every organization is not the same. The Lakers standard is not the same as Charlotte's standard. The New Orleans Pelicans standard is not the same as the Knicks standard.
It should be.
The Miami Heat standard is not the same as, I don't know, the Minnesota Timberwolves standard. It's not the same. So a guy like Udonis Haslem, everything he did for that team, championships, you know how I feel about dirty work guys. You're not LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. Y'all ain't winning that without the dirty work guys. You're not winning without Udonis Haslem. You're not. You're not winning.
I'm not
06. They're not winning that without Udonis Haslem.
I'm not disputing that, but whether it's Udonis Haslem or PJ Tucker or Bobby Portis, there's those guys you can find that guy. You can't replace a Dwayne Wade on that championship team. You can't. And that for me, when an organization honors a player, for me, it needs to be like this person is like we couldn't have won without this person.
I don't think they could have won without Udonis Haslem. I don't.
But I already asked you which one's easier to replace, Wade or Haslem.
Well, those two are different, Tone, because we're talking about better players, but you can't. I think you undervalue
dirty work guys that have won a championship.
Horace Grant jersey should be retired in Chicago too. 100% his jersey.
Horace Grant's
jersey, 100% on all league defender. their best meat and potatoes guy. You saw what happened when they lost him. What happened when they played against Orlando? They got smoked.
Do you know why?
They got and it ain't because Jordan was out.
No, it has nothing to do with Jordan. It has nothing to do with Jordan. It's
the reason why
their best rebounder went to Orlando and they didn't replace him. They had no rebounding.
Right. They didn't have
What about
that
Robert
guy.
Horry? Should we retire Robert Horry's number?
Was Robert Horry integral in like Udonis Haslem? Did he stay around in Houston for as long as
those 7 championships on those teams for Houston, for example? 100% he is.
He was a mercenary.
Was Rudy T? Was Rudy T an integral part of the Houston Rockets as a player?
I mean, I think he made the All-Star team once or twice. Rudy T did.
Retired his number. What about Nick Collison? OKC retiring his number.
And he was on that crew for as long as he was on that crew. I think he's in the top 5 all time in scoring and in rebounding for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Once again, Tone, we're talking about the standard.
But I'm doubling down on the retirement numbers because if you start retiring role players and dirty work guys and guys who just stayed on a team for a long time, we're gonna have no numbers left.
How many guys do they do that for, Tone? It's not like they're doing that for everybody. Whose numbers are hanging up in the Raptors in Miami? Lonzo Mourning, Shaq, Dwayne Wade, Lonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, Chris Bosh, Shaq, Dwayne Wade.
Hold on. Bosh, Bill Russell, of course, that's the league. Tim Hardaway.
Take Jordan and Bill Russell off. Take those two off.
No, that's hanging in the rafters. No, I'm not taking it off. So Bosh,
they never played for
Bill Russell, Tim Hardaway. They retired the number 13 for Dan Marino. Okay? They retired the damn number 13 for Dan Marino. That's how stupid this franchise is. Hold on. 23 for Jordan. They retired Shaq's 32, Alonzo's 33, Haslem's 40. This team has been around for 30 years, and they've got like 30 retired numbers. Okay, it's 10. Fine, it's 10. So really?
And 3 of those guys never played there.
For every 3 years, they retire a number? For every 3 years of their existence?
3 of those guys never played there. So they got 6 guys. Again, James' jersey should hang up.
James is coming, as it should.
Yeah. James' jersey should hang in the rafters. So James, Wade, Bosh, Tim Hardaway, Lonzo Mourning, Shaq, Udonis Haslem.
Bam's going to be when he retires too. But my point is this. You can't have 10 retired numbers for a franchise that's been around for 30 years. You can't. Sorry.
Now, let me ask you this question, Tone. With the 30 years that the Miami Heat have been around, what other franchise in 30 years has done what they've done?
What team? Sorry, say that again. What team has done what they've done?
So the Miami Heat have been around since 1988. Right, so we're talking 35 years. Yeah, we're talking 35 years. In the 35 years that they've been around, match that up with other teams that have been around for 35 years or longer. Have they done what the Miami Heat have done?
No.
And why have they done what they've done, Tone?
Because they got LeBron James to come over with Chris Bosh. Because if you eliminate LeBron and Chris Bosh, which you can't, but if you do, they have one chip. And in that case, well, the Raptors have one chip and they've been around for half as long. You've got the Mavericks. You've got the Mavericks who've been to a final and won a final. In fact, they beat Miami in a final and lost to Miami in a final. So there's
a statue of Dirk outside the arena, Tone. There's a statue of him.
You didn't have LeBron. You're comparing LeBron to Dirk?
No.
They just won the free agent lottery because LeBron decided to take his talents to South Beach. He's the only reason that they've done what they've done.
Yeah, but the point is, Tone, is that
why are you retiring everybody else's number? Why'd you retire Tim Hardaway? They're retiring his number. Why'd they retire Tim Hardaway's number?
He's the best point guard in the history of their franchise.
Well, the franchise has only been around for 5 minutes.
No, it's been around for longer than 5 minutes. But let's just say for the sake of argument that that's true. It's only been around for 5 minutes. In the 5 minutes that it's been around, they have not had a point guard better than Tim Hardaway. That's a fact. In the 30 years that it's been around.
Because Dwayne Wade is a shooting guard, sure. Okay.
Right. And I agree.
He's the best point guard they've ever had, but they haven't been around that long.
Right.
The bar is low. The bar is low because they've only been around for 30 years. They haven't been around for 70.
But it's their bar to set, Fluent. That's the thing. Like Jay said, I agree. I agree with you. It is their.
I disagree.
That's why franchise. It's like states versus federal. Like it's their choice to set the laws.
That's where I disagree. The NBA should hold their teams to a standard, and we're not doing it.
The standard here's the problem, though, Tone. Your standard is ridiculous, though. That's your standard. Your standard is ridiculous.
And
I'll take
Tone
that.
is the same dude. Just so we clear, H. So we clear. in the 77-year history of the NBA, 178 guys are in the Hall of Fame that played in the NBA. That means that if you line up 100 guys, only 4 of them are getting in for every 100 guys. Tone thinks that's too much.
Yeah.
Tone thinks that's way too much. He thinks it should be only 1 guy. That means 96 guys out of every 100. Nope, not you dudes. Tone thinks that's still too much. It should be 1 guy for every 1,000 guys. That's a ridiculous standard, Tone.
So we're clear. You like using that number, but let me give you the real number. 4,500. That's how many people have played in the NBA.
4,500.
1,500 have been starters, and 100 of those are in the Hall of Fame because no bench players in the Hall of Fame. They're all starters. So 100 out of 1,000. What's the math on that? 100 divided by 1,500. That's
150.
That's 6.66% get into the Hall of Fame. That's too high. That's too high.
That means that for every 100 guys, 6 guys are getting in. 6.
That means currently in the NBA, there's 450 players. 27 of them get into the Hall of Fame. That's too many.
That means the other 94% are not.
Correct.
That means the other 94% are not. So what I am, I'm in the 90. So if I get
Hall of Famers, 27 Hall of Famers in the NBA right now this year. That
this
seems like
year, I don't know if I'm going to go. Well, if we're talking about this year, are we talking about in the future, or if their careers ended this year? No.
6%
I
of
think
the
either way.
6% of the league. The math. Actually, it's higher.
Before we end this topic, random trivia. Do you guys know which franchise has the most retired jersey numbers? Go.
Probably the Celtics.
Jay?
It's not the Celtics, it's the Lakers.
Chat?
The Celtics, I think so, yes.
You're both right. And do you guys know which 2 teams have no retired numbers?
The Raptors and the Timberwolves.
Close. Jay?
That have no retired. Nobody's jersey is hanging in the rafters.
Not one.
Fluent
got one. A team close to his heart.
The Raptors, nobody's jersey is hanging in the rafters.
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, the Clippers. Nobody's jersey is hanging in the rafters.
Oh, yeah.
That
makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Whew. And we will get into the Clippers. I know one of you, I think, just sent a super chat, but before we'll dive into some Super Bowl convo, we got to get that out of the way, and we'll start with the super chat from Sports PSP. Who is closer to being the GOAT, Bron or Mahomes?
Bron, because he already the GOAT. So, I mean, why are we having this conversation? I don't think this is even a question.
I think neither, because neither one of them has a shot at ever being the GOAT. Mahomes, just let me put it into perspective. Mahomes has 0 chance. Sorry, that's not true. He has 1% chance. 1% chance of being the GOAT. And just so we're clear, I have Patrick Mahomes as number 2 all time right now. Number 2 all time right now. I have Mahomes as number 2 all time right now, but he won't be the GOAT, and here's why. Sorry, he has a 1% chance. Let me, because anything is possible. But here's what he'll have to do. At minimum, he'll have to become the all-time leading passer. That's possible. He'll have to become the all-time leader in passing touchdowns. That's possible. He'll have to go to not 1, I feel like LeBron here, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6. 6 more Super Bowls.
6 more, in addition to what he already did. So now you got to double what you did.
In addition to what he's already did, he has to go to 6 more Super Bowls, and of those 6, he has to win 4 of them.
What if he 3-peats back to back to back?
Hold on.
Does that change anything?
Let me finish.
Oh, you talk. Okay, go.
He has to go to 6 more. So he has to passing all-time leader, touchdown all-time leader. He has to go to 6 more Super Bowls. He has to win 4 of those 6 Super Bowls. And then we can have the conversation, because at that point, he will have tied Tom Brady. And then everyone will tell you this. Patrick Mahomes' first regular season loss versus Tom Brady. His first playoff loss versus Tom Brady. His first Super Bowl loss versus Tom Brady. So now, if we're going to go down the skill and talent route, I'm with you. I got Mahomes way ahead of Brady, although I think I got Brady more on the football IQ, right? He did more with less ability. So for Mahomes to get there, I feel he'd have to surpass all the things that Brady has over him, because when they got to match up head to head, and of course there's defense, of course, but when they went face to face, Brady won in the regular season, in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl. So, and now since it was a LeBron question, imagine LeBron going to 4 NBA finals, being 3-1 in the NBA finals, Jordan being 7-3 in the NBA finals, but when they met in the regular season, Jordan beat him. In the Eastern Conference championship, Jordan beat him. And I get it's basketball; it's a different sport. I get it. And in the NBA,
let's say he went to the finals. Let's say he went to the finals and saw Jordan
in the regular season, in the Eastern Conference championship, because it was the AFC championship game that Brady beat him in.
Yeah.
And in the Super Bowl, in the NBA final, Jordan beat him. Do you think there'd be a debate? Do you think there'd be a debate?
No.
So Mahomes, as like I said, number 2 all time already. Is a lot more to do if he's going to pass Brady. And the only people who disagree is going to be people who say, oh, he's more talented, he's more skilled. And hey, that's a valid point, because he is. But he's still, what you do is important.
And Tone, if he never got back to the bowl game, let's just say for the sake of argument, this was it. He's never getting back to another bowl game again. And for the next, 28? So let's say for the next
10 years,
7.
Okay.
Let's say for the next 6 or 7 years, so let's say 6 more years, he plays at this level. He's been in the league for 7 years now. So if he plays at this level for another 6 more years, so at 35 years old, he decides, I'm out. I don't want to play no more. And at the end of this, he's got 12 years of sustained greatness. How are we talking about? In addition to what he already did. Because again, we got the winning part out. The winning part's already done. Let's just say for the sake of argument, Tony, he never goes back. He never wins it again. It's okay, so the winning part is done. He plays at an MVP level, and we're still talking about him as one of the best quarterbacks in the game, a top 3 quarterback for the next half decade, even more than half.
That he's number 2 all time. Because it's standard, the bar is so high, right, that Tom Brady has set for whatever reason. And listen, don't give me that crap about, oh, he had top 10 defense, he had this, he had that. You know what? There's 9 other guys every one of those years that had a top 10 defense, and they didn't win as much as he did. There's guys that had better defenses than he did year over year, and they didn't win anything. So I'm not going to take away from what this guy has accomplished. And again, look at the numbers, look at the rings. He won a 10-year stretch. You're right. He won a 10-year stretch without doing nothing. No, it wasn't doing nothing without winning a championship. Just think about that. He went 10 years without winning a chip, and he still went to the Super Bowl 10 times and won 7 of them.
Let's get to the bottom of that.
Just think about that. And that's what you're saying, is that if he goes 10 years with, now here's the thing. To your question, Haley, if he 3-peats and he becomes the only person to lead an NFL team to a 3-peat,
is that the separated tone?
I think it gets him closer. But then it still comes down to what he does, because is he 4-1, and that's it? No more Super Bowls. But if he wins, I think if he wins,
does it matter though?
It does. If he 3-peats and wins 5, then I think that's something that maybe we're now having the conversation. Because 3-peats, I think gives him a bump, but 4 is not enough. 4 is not enough. Even a 3-peat's not enough to surpass the guy who has 7.
I don't think it is, to be honest.
Because nobody in history has done that.
Absolutely. That's why I said. But I think what that'll do is, for those people who, because I already have him 2, I think for those people that have him 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, I think they'll have no argument but to say you're right. Because there's people who could probably say he's not even better than Manning yet. I disagree. He's not better than Drew Brees.
No, you dudes keep talking about the championships. That's not enough, man. Stop with the championships. That's not enough. No. Yeah, because when we're talking about championships and we're talking about great players, this is why the Robert Horry logic doesn't work. Because if we're just talking about championships, we got to talk about Robert Horry like we talk about Jordan, like we talk about Russell. No, we can't do that.
Great point.
No, we can't do that. And here's why we can't do that, Tone. Because when you talk about Jordan, when you talk about James, we talk about these guys as all-time greats, and you match championships, then what you have to do is you have to also match what they've done as players. And Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, at this point in his career, if he didn't win again, or let's just say for the sake of argument, he 3-peated, there's still so much more he has to do. He can't just end with this right here because he three-peated. He's the best ever. No, he isn't. Because you're not going to just jump. You're not just going to jump a guy, Tone, who won the Super Bowl 7 times, has over 80,000 yards for his career, and is the all-time touchdown leader because you won 3 straight? I don't think so. Hell no. And he played 21 years and beat you 3 times.
And what if Patrick Mahomes gets a shoulder injury and next year, whatever reason, their defense carries them and he's got like Peyton Manning in Denver noodle arm, but they still win, but it's not on because of him. Does he still get full credit because he won?
No.
Right. So there's so many things that can happen. And then Darren in the chat, I'd like to know your answer. Is Michael Jordan just the GOAT because he three-peated twice, and other than Bill Russell, no one ever did that? Just curious if it holds true.
What do you mean, why is LeBron the GOAT? Because of everything that he's done throughout the course of his career. Me and Tone already had this conversation. Real quick, Tone, did you and I not have this conversation where after they won the NBA championship, when they beat San Antonio in 2013, at that point, he had won the league MVP for the 4th time in 5 years. He had won the NBA championship in back-to-back seasons, and he was the back-to-back finals MVP. I wouldn't even entertain the conversation, H. I wouldn't even entertain it at that point. And by the way, H, he was in year 10 at that point. It wasn't like he was in year 5 or year 6. He was in year 10. I wouldn't even entertain the conversation. Hell no.
Look at this. No,
way.
Repeats in the NFL are different. Well, there hasn't been any. So if that's what you mean, they're different. But in the NBA, a player, especially a starter, affects it significantly more because a player in the NBA, each one player is 20% of the people on the court. Not so much in the NFL. It's less, under 10%.
Wait, I have 2 questions. Number 1, does the fact, let's say Patrick Mahomes plays the entirety of his career with Kansas City. They've lost Tyreek Hill. Let's say he loses Kelsey. Maybe Kelsey retires next year, even if they win. So does him staying loyal and staying on one team change that versus Tom Brady, who ended up leaving and winning that last one with the Bucks?
Or do they keep winning? I'll say.
Let's say he wins 4. Let's say he does the 3-peat plus the one he has. Wins 4, continues playing for 5 more years, whatever, has UPSO stats. He's right there, level to level with Tom Brady.
Passing yards, says he gets all that. Yeah, that's where he has that 1% chance. I think it's really hard. I feel it's an impossible hill to climb, but I said that when Kareem broke the scoring record. And someone climbed. It took 40 years, but someone climbed it. So anything is possible. That's why I leave the door open with that 1%. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
It's going to be tough. Like he's done. This is what. Listen, I'm telling you, he's won number 2 all time already. Why is he number 2 all time? Because he's played as a starter 6 years. He's gone to the AFC Championship 6 times. He's gone to the Super Bowl 4 times. He's won it 3 times. Not only that, he's become the only quarterback in NFL history to be the top 5 highest paid quarterback to win a Super Bowl. He's done that in back-to-back seasons when we all thought, well, last year they lost Tyreek Hill. They're not winning. They win. This year, they even lose Juju, and they got guys dropping the ball to the point where we're all saying they don't have any wide receivers that can catch the ball. And what does he do? He still leads them to the Super Bowl and wins. So the dude is phenomenal. Like I don't think you understand. Remember, the guy who doesn't rank active players, and I'm telling you, that's how special LeBron and Mahomes are to me, is that I break my rule and I put them number 2 all time. All time. That is like me retiring your number. That is a big deal. That's me putting you in the Hall of Fame. That's a big deal. I don't do that lightly.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. And off of that, we'll read our next comment from FIFA. Me and Fluent smoking on that Niners pack.
I did pick Kansas City. I told you, the Swifties, baby.
Hey, you weren't wrong.
Off. They took that lead you guys had, and they.
Jay, I gotta ask. I'm hearing this. This is pissing me off because it's making us as fans look bad. Chiefs won fair and square, in my opinion. There's not even an argument. Obviously, I'm pissed. Obviously, the Taylor Swift stuff is just like, I'm over it.
Why?
But when it comes, I can't say it on here. When it comes down to,
can I pause you for a second? Because I know you're going to talk football with Jay, but let me ask you, because he was on TV for 38 seconds.
54, and that doesn't account for everything before and after. And obviously, you know how I am with conspiracies. I have a whole thing, but I can't.
Do you know what was the most watched show ever in the history of television?
What?
This Super Bowl.
What was the actual most watched show though?
This Super Bowl.
The season finale of MASH.
Finale of MASH, but this beat it.
What about the World Cup? I mean,
no one cares about the World Cup. Everybody all the Swifties around the world were watching this Super Bowl, and now
World Cup is like way more.
Well, I told you this. What did the NFL do? The NFL created a massive entertainment spectacle where you had more people watching this Super Bowl than any other show ever in the history of TV.
Yeah,
they got a GOAT debate finally. Right now, Mahomes, we're talking about it. Mahomes and Brady. That's going to drive ESPN through the roof now between these two. Look, who's closer, right? That's what ESPN's talking about. Yeah. Who's closer, LeBron and Jordan or Mahomes and Brady? Ooh, now they got content for another 5 years. Not only that, did I tell you this last week about recess or no?
What about recess?
Did I tell you? No, I didn't tell you.
What about recess?
My daughter goes out for recess. And all the girls are sitting there and they're like, hey, let's play football.
Uh-oh.
And she's like, all right, cool. So she runs a route. The girl throws her the ball. She catches it. She goes, ooh, you're the next Travis Kelce. And my daughter says, how do you know Travis Kelce? Because we're a football family, but girls playing football. And you go, oh, because of Taylor Swift. Right. Now you got girls playing football. Grade 4 girls playing football at recess because of her. I don't think she did anything bad. Good for them. I don't care if it's fake. I don't care if they break up tomorrow. I'm in.
It was great for the game. It is great for the game, Tone. I will say that 100% is great for the game.
If I was Roger Goodell, I already make, what does he make? Like $400 million a year? He just got a raise. He earned it. I don't care if it's a conspiracy. I don't care if they set it up. Brilliant business. Brilliant.
No, 100%. I mean, when people that's what I was going to ask you, Jay, is, people saying, oh, it was rigged. I mean, the season of the marketing aspect was obviously rigged, but when it comes to the Super Bowl, we had ample amount of chances to seal the deal, and the 49ers absolutely blew it. And in my opinion, obviously I'm like in utter deep pain right now. So I was definitely I'm a bit emotional, but I think this was it, Jay. So I'm curious to think, what do you think? We're gonna lose a bunch of guys next season to contracts, and did the Super Bowl change your mind on Brock Purdy?
Yes, I already felt the way I did about Brock Purdy anyway. I don't think that he is average. I think that those allegations, I never felt like that anyway. I think he played a damn good game. Don't get me wrong, he missed some throws, but so did Patrick Mahomes. He missed some throws too. So, and there's plenty of guys.
Pressure though. They're
absolutely.
Both defenses, especially my guy George, Karataftis, whatever his name is on the Chiefs. He's a Greek guy. And he was carrying the Greek flag after they won on the Chiefs. Dude, he played a game. He made us proud.
I thought that we could have done a better job in running the football. I was surprised that that CMC did not run the football more. I thought that he should have ran the football 30 times at minimum. I thought that he should have been the focal point of our offense, and I thought we dominated the line of scrimmage early. I thought Brock was on top of his game early. But with that being said, I was having flashbacks, Tone. It looked like that's what Jimmy G looked like in the beginning of the Super Bowl. I think he was 21 for 23 in the first half. He was super sharp. So we find ourselves, I think he's better than Jimmy G though. But we find ourselves right back in the same situation where the play calling, where Shanny is giving the ball to Brock Purdy instead of going with what got us here, the league leading rusher, the league leader in rushing touchdowns. Give him the football, and you got us here. We did the same thing against Baltimore. In the last minute of the game, Frank Gore got us into the red zone. Instead, we throwing the football in the red zone. You got to stay out here, punch the ball in. I don't think that I thought that the defense, We stood on our head for as well as we could. At the end of the day, as good as Brock was, you can't make those kind of mistakes against
unexpected.
Patrick Mahomes.
I'll add on to that and say, and look, this is easier said than done, but against the Chiefs, you can't settle for field goals, right? You have to score touchdowns. And I will say, I think he made a mistake because it was the first time, I want to say, that under the new overtime rules, that I think anyone had played. I think he should have given the ball. They won the toss, give them the ball first. Worst case scenario, okay, they score a touchdown, but you get the ball back. At least you're like, I don't want Patrick Mahomes with the ball last an unlimited time, because basically that's what you're saying is, here's the ball and it's unlimited time, because the overtimer, it's like, if the time runs out, they don't lose. It's just like the first quarter of overtime. So you keep playing until that possession is over, because a lot of people are like, oh, there's only 5 seconds left. I'm like, no, they'll just,
there's no tie in football. There's no tie in the Super Bowl.
Even if you're up 3 and the overtime ends, you just start another 15,
because they got to get the ball back.
Because you have to stop them. So you want to give the ball to Patrick Mahomes with unlimited time to just go? No. So that's why it's take it first. Let's see if we can hold you to a field goal, or better yet, stop you. And now here we go. Now I'm going to take over and go.
I think the mistakes that we made, Tone, I don't think that one of the mistakes that we made was not capitalizing on their mistakes. I mean, they gave us the ball 3 times, Tone.
Yep.
Like when Patrick Mahomes throws an interception, we have to score on that. We have to.
They got nothing, right?
Yeah, we got nothing from that. We didn't. We got nothing from that. When Christian McCaffrey fumbled, we get the ball right back in the red zone. They fumble. We got to score. Those are things that end
even
up
a chance at a safety. Jay, remember they were in we could have gotten a safety. There were so many opportunities that we just those
are things that add those are things that add up. That I ultimately think once you get to the end, I said this before, Tone. What he reminded me of is 2000 Shaquille O'Neal, where what was the difference in the series? We got Shaq and you don't.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. We have Shaq and you don't, and they have Pat Mahomes and we didn't. That doesn't take away from how good Brock Purdy is, Tone. That doesn't. No.
Listen, I told you that this Super Bowl was going to make him Tom Brady or Joe Flacco, and the reality is, now watching it, it's neither. He's not as good. He's not as bad as Joe Flacco. He's not as good as Tom Brady, but he is a good. He is. Look, if there's 15, if you have to be 15th to be mid, he is above. I think he is encroaching on top 10 NFL quarterback. Again, he has to do it again and again and again. But he's in that conversation where he's better. Like he's over guys like that I think are mid, like Kirk Cousins, right? Like he's put himself above those guys. So, and
it's his first year as a starter too, Tony. It's not like he's been doing this for 4 or 5 years. It's his first year as a starter. So I do know how free agency is, but we still have him under contract. We still got Bosa under contract, right? We still have Ayuk. I think Ayuk may want out. That's what I'm hearing.
His girlfriend leaked that they're leaving.
Yeah, I think that Ayuk may want out, but we still got Debo. We still got Debo under contract. We still got CMC under contract. We still got our quarterback under contract. We still got our offensive line under contract. So I don't think this window is closed.
We'll be back. I do like Killer saying we'll be back in this game. We'll be back.
Yeah. I don't think it's over. I think we got. I still think that we the class of the NFC. I do with what we have. I do think that we the class of the NFC. And to those of you out there that worry about, well, you're going to have to pay him. Well, we don't have to worry about that next year because after next season, then we can have a conversation. After next season, we can have a conversation. Daniel Jones has set the bar on where the money is with Brock Purdy. I think Daniel Jones has set the bar on where the money is with Brock Purdy. So I'm not thinking that he's going to be one of these guys that takes a discount because I wouldn't tell him to do that. No, man. Your football career is not going to be as long as you think it is. You're going to be a grown-up way longer than you're going to be a football player. So get as much as you can when you can because in the words of the great Biggie Smalls, ain't no guarantee that they're going to love you, brother. So with that being said, we still got some time with him. We still have some time with him before we have to pay him. But when we do have to pay him, I think it's anywhere between what Daniel Jones got and
a bump, and plus a bump. Right.
That's what I'm thinking.
For time, yeah. Just curious. someone said this to me yesterday, and I didn't know how I felt about it. So I was like, I'm going to throw it out to you guys. We're talking about the Brady and Mahomes thing. And they said, well, it's a little bit easier for Mahomes because there's not as many great winning quarterbacks right now. And I go, what do you mean? I'm like, right now there's like, who are the great quarterbacks in the league? And then compared to when Brady was playing, when there was, Breeze, Aaron Rodgers in their prime.
Favre. Hey, little bit. How are you?
I was distracted. Peyton Manning, right? There was a lot of. Do you feel like there's the quarterback position is in terms of winning quarterbacks, we're in a down? Because I feel like it's about the same. But
you got to remember though, Tone. There's a reason. There's a reason why. There's a reason why. I love that, by the way. I know. I do. I love that. That's so awesome because I'm thinking about my kid when she was that age. But anyway, Tone, there's a reason why.
All other things aside, I'm the luckiest dude in the world. But yes,
I love that. That's fantastic. But Tone, I'm thinking about, like you said, the winning quarterbacks. You just mentioned it, Tone, when you just talked about Patrick Mahomes. How many years has he been to the AFC Championship game? How many years has he been to the bowl game? There's a reason why these quarterbacks aren't winning quarterbacks. It's primarily due to him. So that has a lot to do with it. So it's not like these quarterbacks aren't good. They just losing to him. I mean, Joe Burrow was the only one that could say that I beat him. That's it. Other than that, I mean, these quarterbacks are pretty fantastic. Lamar Jackson. What up? Oh, my God. We working over here, Ledoux. What up, man? We working over here.
I mean, yeah.
You got a lot to do tomorrow.
What are we doing, man? We trying to work over here. Anyway, I'm sorry, folks. Hey, man, listen. This is what happens when you got family in the house. I apologize.
Yep.
This is what happens.
I'll never tell them to leave. I'll never tell them.
We got family in the house. That's what happens. But anyway, Tone, like I was saying, when you have quarterbacks like Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, who I'm a Justin Herbert stan. If anybody knows me, I love Justin Herbert.
Yeah, but
Lamar Jackson.
Rivers has a lot to prove.
Lamar Jackson. To be honest with you, I'm thinking more like Dan Marino. But anyway, Justin Herbert.
Lamar G3 also has a lot to prove.
Lamar J3.
Lamar G3.
I don't know if he should have won. You got Tua, right? So you got a lot of damn good.
I don't think he should have won the. That's a different conversation. I don't think he should have won the MVP. But
did you know? A quick side note, H. Did you know that Lamar Jackson is the only quarterback to win the league MVP without finishing in the top 10 in yards and touchdowns?
It was
CMC should have been CMC should have been the league MVP.
Yeah.
No question about it. It should have been CMC. CMC.
Do you know that no wide receiver has ever won an MVP, but a kicker has?
Unbelievable.
It's a joke. It's all a joke. Yeah. No, I hear you. And yeah, no, that's a good question, Fluent, because I think the talent, we'll see obviously over the next 5 years where all these quarterbacks kind of line up talent wise. But yeah, I mean, with Mahomes kind of blocking the way for Burrow and Allen and, winning over Hurts and Purdy and all these guys. Well,
there's no great quarterback in the NFC. And the only argument you can make is for a couple in the AFC. There's no great.
Jalen Hurts is great.
He's not great. He's not great. Like he's not. When I say great, he is not Drew Brees. He's top 4 now. I'm saying he is not Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning. Great. When I say great, so there's none in the NFC, and there's maybe 2, possibly 3 in the AFC. And that was the point. Again, I'm trying to make their point for them is that back when Brady was winning his, you could easily count 6. And now, you start to question, is Lamar great? Is Josh Allen great? Well, if they don't start getting some postseason success, now it's not like they only lost to Patrick Mahomes. They've lost to other people too, right? It's if you don't start getting over that hump, you become, to your point, you become Dan Marino, right? Super talented, amazing, but won Super Bowl and you never made it back again. That's
which I have now become Apollo Creed with Rocky. Like I don't want a rematch. I asked for one, I got it, and I'm good on Patrick Mahomes.
But you know what? But Dan Marino was good enough to get his number retired by the Miami Heat. So there you go.
Okay. There we go.
There you go.
Okay, this is from
retire my number next. I'll call up Pat Riley.
maybe the Knicks. Stat Padford. Remember they had to play Birdman over him too.
Okay, sorry. Go.
No, go. You're good.
No, Super chat first.
When this was, I just don't remember who this was referring to.
Udonis Haslem. Udonis Haslem in Birdman. And actually, they didn't play him over him. He just played minutes. It wasn't like Udonis Haslem was out the series because he wasn't out the series. Birdman just played because they went bigger against Indiana. But he wasn't playing him over him. That's not what happened.
Who played more minutes?
Who did play more minutes?
Because if it's Birdman, they did play him over him, and in which case we should retire Chris Anderson's number. That being said, I am going to officially apply because the Hornets, Mitch Kupchak has stepped out of his role for the Charlotte Hornets. The Knicks seem to be doing fine. And so I will be formally applying for that role with the Charlotte Hornets because they need some help. And I don't know if you saw this the other day, but there was a gentleman who applied for a role as the defensive coordinator for the Washington Commanders, and they wrote him a beautiful, I believe it was the Washington Commanders, they wrote him a beautiful rejection letter back. It was actually handwritten.
Thank you.
Thank you, but no thank you. Yeah, but it was handwritten. It was actually really nice.
At least they got the rejection. I mean, most people get ghosted totally, so.
I thought it was really, really nice. So I figure, we know some people in Charlotte, right? So I think I can make some effective change for Charlotte.
Pull up Mitch, hire my man, yo. You know what he's doing. Mitch Kupchak, if you listen
could I leave them any worse than they are right now?
Hire my man.
No, they couldn't. I think this is
yes, you could.
For you,
yes, you could, Tone, because there is the Detroit Pistons going on. That's what's going on right now. So you could do that. Yes, you couldn't. You absolutely could do that.
I think Detroit is very calculated in what they were doing this year. Yeah,
you did bring that up.
Yeah.
Brian, Tom Brady, four best Super Bowl performances: 505 yards, 3 touchdowns, 466 yards, 2 touchdowns, 344, 3 touchdowns. Second Super Bowl, 328, 4 touchdowns. Mahomes' best Super Bowl performance, 333 yards, 2 touchdowns.
So that's basically Tom Brady's worst Super Bowl.
Let's understand this again. Can you repeat it again?
Yeah, so Tom Brady's 4 best Super Bowl performances were 505 yards, 3 touchdowns, 466 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 345, 3 touchdowns. Second Super Bowl, 328, and then 4 touchdowns versus Mahomes, 333 yards and 2
okay. So what he's saying is Tom Brady's 4 best Super Bowls are all better than his 4th best Super Bowl is better than Mahomes' best.
Yeah, his Tom Brady's worst Super Bowl performance is better than. I don't think it's worse because his worst would have been that like 10-3 game against the Rams, or the ones that he lost against the Giants and the Eagles. Yeah.
But not against the Eagles. I think he actually played well against the Eagles.
And this is a follow-up. Brady won 6 rings with average wide receivers. He threw for 466 in a Super Bowl, no Gronk, and a 28-3 comeback.
That's true.
Oof.
And other people will say he lost a Super Bowl and an undefeated season with Randy Moss. So you got to knock him for that too.
Threw 50 touchdowns that year too. So
yeah, he had a year and lost.
Let
me tell you, that pisses me off more than anything because I'm sick and tired of those damn 72 Dolphins. Like they keep popping bottles, they're gonna all die off before they stop popping those bottles.
Yes, they are. You could say the same thing about Patrick Mahomes. What all pro wide receivers does he have? I mean, he had Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
He had Cheetah. He had Cheetah. And he had Kelsey, but Tom Brady had Gronk.
He also had Killer Hernandez.
All right.
And Brady had Edelman and Wesley.
Did you see Taylor Swift?
I drank the beer.
Dug that beer? Yeah,
she did. Mm-hmm.
I drank the beer.
Hakeem Delph, Mahomes versus Brady, they both beat each other 3 times each. Yes, but not at the level that Brady beat Patrick. So.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, is it Mahomes
season.
2-1 in the regular season against Brady, or it's 3 or I mean not 2-1? I don't know. I don't know.
He came into Kansas City in the AFC Championship and outclassed him.
Yeah.
That happened. I'm not trying to hear the logic of, if you want to put context on it, that offsides for Kansas City we can't negate the fact that they had 3 3rd and 10s, and Brady converted on those 3rd and 10s. 3 of them in your building. We cannot outclass. We cannot forget that. That's very important.
And again, let me correct myself. So a man applied for the role it's because it was this team that I blocked them out of my memory, I guess, with the Green Bay Packers, and he got a handwritten rejection letter from CEO Mark Murphy after he applied for the role. It's because it was the Packers. They fly out of my head.
Oh yeah.
It was the defensive coordinator job. So hey, the guy was like, hey, I can do this job, and he applied, and
yeah.
Nice.
Got to start somewhere.
I love it. I love it.
Sports PSP.
Can I address FIFA Boy real quick?
Yes, please do.
Okay. The soundboard. Let me look at the camera. The soundboard is for me. I don't care about anybody else, so I am gonna laugh, and that's why it's here, so that I can go.
I drank a beer.
Hey, you know what? I've got this water.
It's for me. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Soundboard's not for you. It's for me.
Yeah. All right. This is a conversation we were kind of discussing before we jumped in here live with you guys. So, and obviously Fluent and Chill have a bit differing opinions. So let's jump into this. Was Cam Newton right about Purdy? And Jay, I want you to start.
No, I don't.
Can you tell them what they said?
Yeah. I mean, essentially
what did Cam Newton say about Purdy?
Well, he came out twice. The first time he basically said he's not even a top 10 quarterback or a top 5 quarterback? And then the second time he came out, he's kind of drunk. It was like the day before the Super Bowl. And then he's like, I don't know why I'm getting so much hate. Like, people are coming at me for what I said, but I'm just trying to keep my media real, even though most of Cam Newton's media is absolute BS. But he came out saying that and was going to apologize and then couldn't actually apologize. And he's like, I'm not bitter, and goes on to say that he just thinks that people are overclassing or overrating what Purdy is. And of course, he's allowed to say that, but I as Fluent said multiple times, yes, every quarterback is a game manager in moments, right?
Well, they're all game managers. Oh, sorry, Joe was gonna go.
No, go.
No, I was just gonna say, I think you're salty. I don't think it's Cam Newton that's salty. I think it's because it's Brock Purdy. I think if he came out and said that about any other quarterback, you wouldn't care, especially if he was right. Like, with all due respect, at the time, Brock Purdy and even now, Brock Purdy may not be top. For sure, he's not top 5, but he may not be a top 10 quarterback. He's borderline. Like I said, he's getting close, but that's not untrue, especially I don't know when he said it, but pre this game, I think you easily could have said he's not top 10, and he's a game manager because, well, let's be honest. One, every good quarterback is a game manager, because if you're not a good game manager, you're not a good quarterback. So I don't think he said anything wrong. I think you're salty.
Then why say he's just a game manager when you could say that about Jalen Hurts, especially a Dak Prescott?
Jalen Hurts isn't just a game manager. Jalen Hurts with his legs. Dak Prescott, I don't think he's a game manager at all. That's why I think they keep losing in the playoffs. He's not even that good.
That's your problem right there.
The problem is he doesn't manage the game. You know what?
Okay.
If he was a better manager, Dallas probably would have been in the Super Bowl.
That's your problem.
That's
You're
his
not a game
problem.
manager.
So I don't think if it was any other quarterback on any other team, you'd be fine with it. See, and your computer froze to prove it.
I think that if Cam would have been a better game manager, they probably would have won more games. And
100%.
I hate the logic of game manager. When I hear game manager and I hear system quarterback, that boils my blood, because you guys who say stuff like that are the epitome of when guys go out and fling it and guys go out and just sling it and throw interceptions. They're bad quarterbacks. So every great quarterback plays in a system. Joe Montana played in the West Coast offense. That is a system. Tom Brady played in a system. As good as Tom Brady was with Wes Welker, with Julian Edelman, with Randy Moss, he played in a system. They didn't just give him the ball and just tell him to go throw it. No, they didn't do that. Now, don't get me wrong. As a game manager, which is what Peyton Manning is, which is what Drew Brees was, you do have to make exceptional plays when necessary. That's what game managers do.
Good
right?
to great.
But
that's what makes you feel good. You have to be good. You have to be a
Mhm.
game manager. To be great,
Right.
you have to make those plays occasionally.
Correct. You have to raise your game. But that doesn't knock you as a game manager because you don't get to that level and you're just a game manager. Because if that was the case, I never heard nobody call Troy Aikman a game manager when he had what he had when he was in Dallas, when he was throwing 15 touchdowns. I never heard that one time. Not once.
Aaron Rodgers is the ultimate. Aaron Rodgers is the ultimate game manager. That's why he barely throws any interceptions.
Right.
We want him to actually take more chances. But you said everyone plays in the system, and I will challenge that a little bit. Like Brett Favre probably could have used a little bit more game manager in him because he was slinging all over the place, which is why
it was making Coach Holmgren nuts. It was making him nuts. So let's not make it sound like Coach Holmgren was on the sideline. Like, yes, he was on the sideline looking at him like, yo, does this dude have any idea what he's doing right?
I'm gonna strangle this dude. Yeah, 100%.
Right. So we all know that for a fact that he was doing that. So when you play in a system, the system is designed around your skill set. The West Coast offense was designed around Joe Montana's skill set, and it worked, right? Same thing with Steve Young. So when you play in that system, whatever the system is, same thing with Donovan McNabb when he was in Philadelphia. That's the system that he was in, and it was and it worked. But when you raise your game, which is what Brock Purdy has done, it's not like Brock Purdy was a game manager every game. Like he wasn't making big plays and he wasn't making big throws. Because yes, he was. He just wasn't doing it as much to your liking. And again, Cam Newton, had you been a better game manager, maybe you would have thrown more touchdowns. Maybe you guys would have won more games.
I mean, isn't he the dude that's still trying to beg to come into the league?
No, that'd be Colin Kaepernick. But I gotta call a timeout. You're also being real salty because it's Brock Purdy. Because there's no reason that you have to attack Cam Newton's game because of what he said. Because
No. You have obviously not heard all the clips. Did you hear the second one the day that came out before the Super Bowl? No, he wasn't just offering his takes. No, he was being.
Dude, will you shut up and watch the show, man? God damn, yo. You have to have a comment for everything? What the hell?
Let
understand that, yo. I don't know if you know this.
Right. Listen, he's saying, hold on. Hey. Hold on. See what it says right there?
No, don't highlight him. Don't give him credit. He didn't send a super chat. Why are we every time we each get one directed at us, we don't highlight it. He didn't send a super chat. Duke, you can send a super chat.
If you know everything, come up here and shut us up. Shut us down so we can get off the air. I will take my headphones off.
What did I miss?
And I will get out of here. But you clearly know more than me, so I'm going to stop. I'm going to shut up.
What did I miss?
Okay.
What did I miss? What did I miss?
Out of here, man.
I'm in my feelings, and I'll admit that. Like I understand
I'm
that,
not.
but there's a lot.
I'm not.
Okay.
I think you are. I think you are a little.
No, I'm not.
Because it was Brock. So you're telling me if Cam Newton said, you're telling me if Cam Newton said,
it's just that it came from Cam Newton. If it came from somebody that's respected, sure.
Hold on. If Cam Newton said Jordan Love is kind of a game manager, and it's because of the pieces around him. I'm just picking a random quarterback, and he's not a top 10 quarterback, and you agree that he's not a top 10 quarterback and he's just a game manager. Would you be this angry?
If he said it like that and all the other stuff wasn't a part of that, and I wish we could pull up the clip so we could see what he actually said, because it wasn't said like that.
What did I miss?
I don't know. Let's pull up the clip.
So he said,
I don't have the clip.
I'll find the clip.
You're the producer, host of the show. Make it happen.
Yeah.
While you look for it, you want to talk some basketball?
He said Brock Purdy, Tua, Jared Goff, and really Dak Prescott. These are game managers.
And he said they're just game managers. Like, what were you, Cam Newton?
That is just not true.
What were you?
That is just not true.
But Cam Newton, in all due respect, in his prime, was a game-changing MVP quarterback.
Right. And since we're on the subject of being in my feelings, Duke, I don't know if you noticed, sir, but I was around not for one, not for two, not for three. I was alive when my 49ers won all 5 of those Super Bowls. So I could die happy. I ain't in my feelings, brother. I'm so straight.
When we didn't we went to 2.
I'm good. I'm so straight. I am not in my feelings. If we don't ever win again, I'm good. I do not have to go, damn, this sucks.
Hold on, Brock.
Dude, Duke,
Brock,
hold on really quick. Sorry.
No,
I'm
you
gonna
said don't call him out. Don't call him out. You said.
No, I'm going to send the link so Duke, if he'd
Oh,
like to
okay.
come up and share,
Okay.
he can.
Okay.
Now go ahead.
I don't want to involve this dude in the
Hold
show
on.
because essentially what this is this is the game, and what you're doing is you calling people out in the crowd who think that they can play when they really can't. But if you want to bring them up, fine, come on up here, goofy.
Let me ask a question. Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, and who's the third person?
Tua.
And Tua. Are those guys ever
Jared Goff too?
Jared Goff? Are those guys ever winning an MVP? So if by his standards he's saying, look, unless you're an MVP candidate quarterback, you are a game manager. As a former MVP, right. I think he like when Haley, I know she's frozen now, but when she comes back, I think for someone who's been an NFL MVP, I think his opinion is his opinion, but I think it's valid because it's his.
Well, wait a minute, Tom. I mean, Dak
just
Prescott
like we have opinions. I never won an NBA MVP, but it's okay for me to say, hey, last year I think it should have been Jokic, and the year before when it was Jokic, it should have been Embiid or Giannis and whatever. I haven't won an MVP, but I have every right to say that, just like you, dude. Correct?
I mean, Dak Prescott did play at an MVP level this year. Dak Prescott did do that, right? And in addition to him playing at an MVP level, I mean, Tua was in the MVP conversation as the year went on. Now he faded, but he is an MVP level quarterback. Dak was an MVP level quarterback.
Is Tua an MVP quarterback?
I think he is, Tom. To be honest with you, I do.
I think what people will tell you is he just has to put it out there to Tariq and Waddle, and they do the rest.
It's really not. If it was that simple, then anybody would be doing it. No, it's not that simple. Okay. I unfortunately, I don't think it's that simple. So,
we've done an hour of football. Can we do some basketball? Because I have a pressing question, and hopefully Haley comes back, because I want to ask her this very important question.
Mm-hmm.
Tap in. Spoke in depth about 300-pound softy that can't finish games. Enjoy. Mr. Nurkic replied, all good, bad boy. Just don't stay too long on the podcast. You're going to be late for your therapy session.
You got to go see your shrink, right?
Your shrink, bro.
Right, you got to go see your shrink.
Anything?
No, he didn't, Tone. No, he did not. Mm-mm. He did not. Mm-mm. He did not. It's just a matter of time, Tone, before it happens again. It's just a matter of time before what we saw, we're going to see it again on some level, right? Now, don't get me wrong. In every movie, you got the good guys, you got the preliminaries, and you got the villain. And Draymond is the villain here. He's been the villain, and I think he embraces that role.
I think he, yeah.
I think he embraces that role as the villain. And I think this is great I think this is, like you just talked about with Taylor Swift, I think this is great for TV. 100%. It's going to sink them, though, the Golden State Warriors. 100% is going to sink them because he's going to do something dumb, right? He's going to do something dumb that's going to throw them completely off the track. He's going to straight do something dumb that's going to throw them off the track. 100% he is. No doubt about it. He's going to throw them off the track. So
what you missed, Haley, was
good timing.
Did you get to read this? I'll read it again because it's so much fun. Tap in. Spoke in depth about the 300-pound softy that can't finish games. Enjoy. Nurkic replied, all good, bad boy. Just don't stay too long on podcast. Going to be late for therapy session.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm not surprised. I mean, we love the beef. I'm not mad about it. But the thing is, of course, I'm going to side with Draymond on this, even though I get it if you guys disagree. If you guys disagree, I know it's a bit biased. But where I think there comes a problem for me is Nurkic has been extremely wishy-washy. So he comes out, he's not standing on business. He comes out, says his thing about how Draymond needs therapy, or he's like a drug addict or whatever. Then he comes out and he's like, maybe I was wrong about that. Then Draymond faces up against him, has a better game than him. They obviously win the game against him. And then he comes back and he's just in his feelings. So like, stand on business, stay the way, like keep the same energy all the way through. Don't go back and forth because you lost a game. But I understand it too. He's just in his feelings. And Draymond, he talks. He just talks and talks when, dude, you just need to focus on the game, focus on your team. And you have been doing that. But I think there's a point where next game Draymond could have another 10-game.
Aren't some of the best
So
players?
you don't believe Draymond's wrong in any of this?
As far as the online communication?
No, in terms of any of this.
Yeah, I mean, he punched Nurkic, but he also faced the penalty. He paid for that. So, yeah, I think it's just fun. I don't think anyone's in the wrong. I think Nurkic is kind of being a B, but I don't have a problem with it. I like it. I like the beef, but it's like, you come out and say this after you lost, you know?
Aren't all players, especially great players, don't they all get in their feelings? I mean, like, what's this whole thing about getting in your feelings? Wasn't Jordan in his feelings when they told him they couldn't play defense? Wasn't Jordan in his feelings when they told him that?
He took it personal.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. He was 100% in his feelings, right? So I mean, what's this whole you getting in your feelings? So these dudes is people.
But does Nurkic have the game or the resume to back it up? Chill. Does Nurkic really have the resume to back any of this up? And does Draymond? He sure does. He sure does. But I get it. I don't think anybody's in the wrong. I agree with you, Jay. I agree with you. But
just saying. I mean, when I think about people being in their feelings, like it's such a bad narrative. Like, you can't be in your feelings. Some of the best players ever got in their feelings because of what people said about them. It motivated them, and it made them better. So what I'm in my feelings about you saying that I suck. So what I'm in my feelings that you think I'm soft. Okay, let's get to the bottom of that. Let's get to the bottom of you thinking that I'm soft. Let's get to the bottom of you thinking that I can't shoot. Let's get to the bottom of you thinking that I can't.
Nurkic should have punched him in the eye.
No,
to be honest with you, Tone, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not an advocate of violence, but sometimes there are certain things that are necessary. 100% there are.
Listen, Draymond is your prototypical insecure, self-doubting bully. And what any one of those needs is a punch in the face. And then you'll see a whole different side of Draymond. Period. End of discussion.
And their hero curse.
End of discussion. He goes after people specifically. It's not accidental. It's not, oops, it's just that. No, he purposely says, I think I can bully these guys because I don't see him doing it to certain players, and I see him doing it to very specific players for a reason. And shame on those players for not giving him one elbow right in his nose and tell him to back the hell off, because guess what? Then he wouldn't be half the player he would be, because he lives on people thinking he's this tough guy, and he's not. He's not. He might be a little messed in the head. I'll agree with that. But he's not. He's not. NBA players, by most standards, there's exceptions. Okay, but like 99% of NBA players, they're not tough guys. They're not. Look at the way they fight or pretend to fight. Hold me back. Hold me back. There's no one there holding you back, but you pretend like someone's holding you back. Stop it. Stop.
Let me ask you a question, Fluent, because I hear you 100%. But do you think, because you especially are one that has advocated or said, maybe mentioned, that this NBA, it has gone soft, even when we talk about these awards or who's in the Hall of Fame? Yeah, we've kind of softened up a little bit. Do you think over the last decade that Draymond at least brought some energy, some beef, some chaos, some of the old oomph that you guys obviously got to watch? Like, are you glad we've had Draymond be the Draymond he is?
Love that about him.
Like, yeah.
Love that about him. Don't love that no one has stood up to him, though. Anyone. All of them could.
I actually had a conversation in the past. The goons are gone. The bully's still around, but the goons are gone. So guys like Draymond, nobody will stand up to him because the goons have now left the NBA. The Dennis, the Bill Lambiers, the Rick Mahorns, the Michael Cages of the world. Those guys are now gone. So
we're in a better place, skill, talent-wise.
I do believe that.
There's no balance, but there's no balance.
Yeah, because we won a little of that, right?
Yes, the Marcus Morrises of the game, the Draymond Greens, the bullies are still around. So now guys like Joker have to handle this himself. He doesn't have Charles Oakley to get in the mix and go, yo,
his brother's got to do it from the stands.
Right. Don't you worry about this. I'll handle him. That's not your problem. I'll deal with this dude. He don't have that. So that's where the balance is, and that's why nobody has stood up to Draymond. Nobody. Because if you think about it, I mean, to jump on Rudy Gobert like that, I'm thinking to myself, Tone, what would have happened? How would you see Anthony Edwards if he would just punch Draymond in the face?
He would have been he's already one of my favorite players.
If he would have just punched Draymond right in the face instead of no, get off him, to come right up to him and clock him right.
And Ant has so much to lose. I think maybe that's why.
Or even wrap his arm around his neck and pull him off.
Right, get him off.
Yeah, 100%.
How much more respect would I have had for Anthony Edwards if he would have done that? Because again, I'm not advocating fighting, but what I'm also not trying to hear is I'm not trying to hear bullies. I hate bullies. I don't dislike bullies. I hate them dudes. And I love to see them get beat up. I love it.
Listen, this is Fluent Jr., is a red belt. And Haley, you did Taekwondo as well. I preached him. Don't ever start anything. Feel free to finish it.
Please, feel free to.
And that's how I feel in the NBA is, hey, I'm not going to start anything, but if Draymond's swinging or starts choking out my teammate, he's going to know he shouldn't have done that. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not one for violence either. Don't like it at all. But I'm sorry, when you stomp on my center's chest, you're getting a spear. Period. I don't care. Like that's it. That's it.
The thing
and
is,
I wanted to use a hockey reference very quickly. Like everybody knows Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky was the most talented, the most skilled player on the ice, exponentially better.
He was the GOAT.
He always had a guy, like, you guys won't know this guy, but like Marty McSorley, who, if anybody took liberties on Wayne, McSorley would be on the next shift, and that guy would be down on the ground because he'd know, don't mess with my guy. And that's why I'm torn, because I love the skill and the talent of today's NBA, but there are a small number of guys who take liberties, and you got to make sure that they don't do that. Like, that's why I love having James Johnson. Bloodsport, yes. I want him on my team just in case. You know who he is, right? James Johnson.
And on top of that, yes, I do. Yes,
MMA fighter, James Johnson. You know who he is? Okay.
And you know what else, Tone? With a guy like James Johnson, guys are more apt to get in line. They're not as testy.
They're not going to be exactly.
Right. They're not as testy with that dude over there, as opposed to with somebody else's over there. Like, again, Minnesota. For Draymond to jump on Rudy Gobert like that, he's looking at the rest of them like, y'all ain't gonna do nothing about it.
Yeah, you're not gonna do nothing. Yeah,
you're not gonna do nothing about it.
Quick James Johnson story. I kid you not, and I believe it's on YouTube. You can look it up. I was at the pregame when he was on the Raptors, and he did there's two balls in the mesh, like two balls sometimes get stuck. Spin kicked and kicked them out. Spin kicked and knocked the balls out of the mesh. That dude is serious. But anyways, moving on.
That's wild. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's and again, the crazy part is, if you think about it, because the NBA is pretty lenient with some of the issues that we've been seeing coming out, especially when it comes to like Draymond's history, the NBA is quite lenient. So I'm surprised we don't see more incidents when it comes to the violence. Like, they would probably get let off.
Say sorry and go see a therapist. You're back in.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a couple more topics that we want to get into, but first, Fluent has a bit of a rant, and we were going to touch on it last week. Yes, you do. It starts with the big W. So do you want to give us the kind of...
I completely forgot about that. So, okay, yes, Wilt Chamberlain, who never scored 100 points. Absolutely. Did you know? So listen. No. I'm not going to talk about that. Come on, it's you, Jay. No. Jay, hold on. Hold on. All I got to say is this. People are watching the panel. That's all I'm going to say, is people are watching the panel, because I was on the panel for 1 hour. I actually got to see Shaq, which was nice, because I hadn't seen Shaq and talked to Shaq in a little bit. And somehow the Wilt Chamberlain 100-point came up, and I told him all the reasons why he didn't score his 100. And boom, the very next day, some dudes on other channels tried to show footage of this 100-point game. And those MFers tried to get one by on me. Bro, one, I know that there was no video camera there, so I know that you're lying. But two, they didn't even, like, if you're going to lie about something, you better be more fluent. And I don't know if I have the footage, but I'll explain the footage. You seen it? Okay.
I seen
I
it.
saw it. I might have saved
At least I don't know if you guys know this, but for the people in the back and for you guys out there in TV land, if you're gonna challenge a theory or if you're gonna rebut something from this dude over here, I'm telling you right now, get your story straight. Because I'm telling you, what he's gonna do is he's gonna go through everything that you say with a fine-tooth comb. So when I see this footage and I see that it's 2 different games, I'm like, what are we doing?
I know.
2 different. They showed a game where the first 90 to 98 points, you can see that the key is painted.
Hold on, Tone. Hey, dude, yo, I swear, man, I'm about ready to get this dude up out of here, yo. I'm getting mad. How you gonna tell me how I feel, but I'm mad at the truth? That's your truth. You gonna tell me how I feel? The truth is I'm in my feelings. So you're gonna tell me how I feel, and you're gonna constitute it as the truth? That's how you think. That's not me. What are you talking about? It's the truth. The truth is you don't know me, and you don't know how I feel. So what are you talking about? It's the truth. The truth is you said I'm in my feelings. You don't know how I feel. You don't know anything about me outside of what you see right here. So you don't know anything about my truth. So what you're doing is you speculating. So do yourself a favor. When you talk about truth, get your story straight. Then you can talk. But until then, yo, watch the show, B. Damn.
Handle the truth.
Give me a break with this dude.
Duke,
I'm
Joe.
sorry, Tone, as you were saying.
You shouldn't have been
As you
talking.
were saying, Tone. Damn. You're going to tell me how I feel.
I was hoping.
And it's the truth. You're going to tell me how I feel, but it's the truth. Fuck
What
outta here.
Duke says goes, apparently.
Yeah.
I thought
Hey, Haley, you ain't hurt right now. You don't feel bad.
They
You
tell
don't
me that
feel
all the
bad.
time.
What the hell? I'm not gonna tell you how you feel. How
He
am I gonna do
apologized.
that?
He apologized. He apologized.
Break.
All right. Thank you, Duke.
all
right,
right. So yeah. So if I may,
Tone, as you were saying.
if I could continue, I might have to do one more thing here. My apologies, because you know that I definitely want.
As soon as I saw this, Tone, as soon as I saw this, I was thinking, oh boy, this is bad. This is not good. Soon as I saw this footage and I saw you, I was like, this is not good, Joe. This is not good. I'm telling you right now, this is not good.
That's crazy. You caught that. See, like my eyes, I probably would have never
I saw it.
recognized
I saw it too. I did.
All right. It might not have sound, but that's okay. We can talk over it.
Yeah.
Because I don't have time to change it to
Yeah,
I saw it.
an MP4. But here it is.
Okay.
So here's the 100-point game. I don't know if you can see
I see
the
the arrow up there.
it's black and white, so it looks black, and you can see fourth quarter 83 points. And I'll fast forward it. You don't need to see all of this. There's 94 points. Let me mute it because we want to talk over it. There's 96 points. You can see the keys all painted black. And here's now, just keep in mind here, he's at 98 points. Do you remember what the call was when he scored his 100 point? Do you remember who passed him the ball?
Oh, what's the guy's
And what
name?
kind of shot it was?
I don't remember.
I actually have the footage. What's the guy's name?
Oh, you don't have.
He described the play.
You don't have the footage. You don't have the footage, but he passed him the ball. He turned into the key and made a hook shot.
Mm-hmm.
What he did not do. What he did not do was catch a pass on the low block and reverse it in, like you're about to see here in a second. Here we go.
That's not what happened.
Reverse. He did not reverse dunk it. And now I went a little too far here for a second. Let's just go right back. Just watch when he scores his 100 points right there. And now you're going to see him walking away. Oh, we missed it by a split second. See right there? Did you see it? Did you catch it? No? Here, let me show you again. I'll try to pause it fast enough. Oop. Do you see there? Do you see the key?
Yeah. There's no three. There's
you notice that it's not painted black anymore?
Yeah.
You know why it's not painted black? And I'll tell you why it's not painted black. Because at the Oakland Coliseum in 1966, the Warriors which is the team he was on, not the Philadelphia Warriors. No, the San Francisco Warriors played in Oakland Coliseum. They did not have painted key areas. And this game is actually, yes, it is against the Knicks. And yes, the Warriors are the home team, but it's in 1966 when he breaks Bob Pettit's all-time scoring record. That's why what you see after, which is the crowd
4 years later.
Court, well, that's why, because he just broke the all-time. 4 years later,
that is
broke
not Hershey, Pennsylvania, right there.
That is not Hershey, Pennsylvania. That is
no, it is not.
That is the Oakland Coliseum. So the good news is, I got them running. I got them running scared because they know that this never happened. And I'm sorry, Jay, I know you disagree with it, but they know that it didn't happen. So now they're coming out with fake footage. That's how desperate they are. They're coming out with fake footage to try and say, oh, no, look, he did. He absolutely scored 100. He did not.
It's not that it's fake.
And even when I started, I started to waver. I started to say, oh, maybe it was a conspiracy. Nope. This proved to me 100,000,000% without a shadow of a doubt. Never happened, and the NBA is covering it up. And to all of those,
makes it worse.
Is the first part real? At least is that first part of the footage from that game, or
no,
neither?
Makes it worse.
Okay.
None of it's. None of it's
this whole thing worse.
None of it's from the agent said we had no cameras there. We had none.
Terrible.
We had none.
But we did, though, right?
Terrible.
No, there was no video cameras at the game. None. Zero. There wasn't even a camera at the game. Not even a photographer. They quite literally, and this is documented, guys, they quite literally had to ask a guy from the crowd, hey, can you go to your car and get your camera and take a picture?
I'm veering on the side that it was more than 100. I think it was 105. They just stopped counting. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't think they could count at all.
I'm not stopping at 100. I think it was more than 100.
There's got to be somebody that's still alive from that game that we could get up here and interview.
Well, Tone already made it clear that he's heard from at least 10,000 people that were there.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
10,000 people were there.
But maybe we could find that 1,001.
In a recorded, it said 4,100 people were there, but apparently 100,000 people were there. But here's the thing: even if you talk to someone who was there, like Carmelo Anthony, he said, "Oh, I know someone that was there. I got footage." He has no footage, but he said, "I know someone that was there." Right? He hasn't hit me. Hold on, he hasn't hit me back. Hold on, he hasn't hit me back on the $2 million bet I gave him, so he clearly has no footage. That's why he probably tried to put this out there, and I caught him, and they stopped. But hear me out. So if he knew someone that was there, how old would that person be? So let's say they were there when they were 10. Let's say they were a 10-year-old.
Right.
Okay, that game was 62 years ago.
It was in 1962.
Oh, there's definitely people. There's
hold on.
My grandpa watched Wilt play.
Hold on. That person would be 72 years old today. Okay,
that's around my mother's age.
All right. Okay. Tell me about a basketball game, Haley, you were at when you were 10 years old, and you remember who scored how many points?
The 5th grade, in the 5th grade.
I mean, it was always name. I don't remember like specifics, but I also have watched highlights of those games, so that's why it's easier.
Exactly. So imagine now you're 10 years old, you're at a game, it's all smoky, right? It's because they were smoking in there. They have pictures of them lighting it up. They're smoking. You're not watching the whole game. You're running to the bathroom. You're getting some popcorn. You're getting some. It's in Hershey. You're probably getting some chocolate. You're begging your dad, I'm bored. You're not counting. Oh, Wilt has 80. Wow, he's on a.
Let's say they were 20. Let's say they were 20 in their 82. Then
the highest scoring game in NBA history is Kobe Bryant's 81. Period. End of discussion.
No, it isn't.
That's why you can't handle it, is because you don't want it to take over.
That's really what it is, and
you're
that's
bitter
absolutely
now.
What it is. That's absolutely what it is. H. And on top of that, the fact that he was there, so he's got documented evidence in his mind. So would that be? Let's just say for the sake of argument.
Can I say this? I was there, and I had no idea how many points he scored until we were looking at the scoreboard, and then I went and watched the game again. And let me tell you this. This is how I know there's no one that was at that game, because I can tell you two things that people don't know. One, we didn't have any clue what he was going to do in the first half because he only had like 26 something points. Okay. Everyone was like, oh, he had 50. No, he didn't. So liars. Two, who do you always hear people say he scored that 81 on?
Jalen Rose.
That is a bold-faced lie.
It is.
It's a bold-faced lie because I was there, and I'm telling you, I saw him, and then I looked it up to make sure. The most amount of points he scored during that game was against Morris Peterson. It was actually Mo Pete, but no one knows Mo Pete, so they don't say, "Oh, he scored 81 on Mo Pete." They all put it on Jalen Rose, but actually go watch it because I saw it with my own two eyes. It was actually Mo Peterson that got most of those points scored on him. Now it was close. Jalen was second, but it was Mo Pete. So there you go.
Now you're more.
So answer this question, Tone. Okay, so let's just say for the sake of argument that he didn't score 100, right? We do know that the game happened, right? We do know for a fact that the game happened.
Do we?
Yes, we do know for a fact that the game happened.
How?
Yes, we do.
We have witnesses.
We have people who were there. We have people. Tone, I made a whole video about this. About the people who played in the game, about the scorekeeper. So we know for a fact that the game actually happened. So let's just say for the sake of argument that he didn't score 100. And I'm listening to the color commentator or a guy on the radio say that Chamberlain is at 94. That's still more than 81. Even if he didn't score 100.
Yeah,
that's still more than 81.
We have the radio or the audio, don't we?
That's a lie. Nope, that's a lie.
No, it is not. No, it isn't.
Okay, hold on. So you're gonna believe that the radio coverage, all you have is the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, and it took 10 years to find? And you're buying that? If you're buying that, dude, I got some swampland in Florida.
That's not true because
just look it up. Look it up.
No, that's sus if that's all that exists.
Look it up. It is.
I will get to the bottom of this right
now. Go right ahead. You're not going to disprove me. I know the stuff that I know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you do, Tone. I am sure you do. But
this is the only thing. This is the one and only possibility. And I don't believe it, but I'll put it out there for those that maybe believe. They just set it up and they said, "Okay, you're scoring 100 tonight because we need the publicity." That's the one and only way that factually happened. But I still don't believe it. I think more realistically, even when he missed free throws, they counted it as a make. No one was paying attention. The Knicks at that time sucked. They were in dead last. The starting center said, "I ain't playing." The backup center fouled out in like 5 seconds. So
hang on for a second. I'm gonna send this to my man Tone right now.
I have it. You don't need to send me the radio. There's only the last 2 minutes of the game. Yeah. If you find me anything more than the last 2 minutes, but it took 10 years to come out, I can go record that right now. I could go record the whole game right now.
That's
because
so
there's
weird.
no footage. I can make up whatever I want. Oh, there's the pass into Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt Chamberlain turns around. Oh, it's a dunk for Wilt Chamberlain. He's got 86 incredible points. This man is on pace to score 100. Oh, there you go. Wow, I just did it. Like it's make a little crackle. Oh, it's Wilt Chamberlain. Like, come on, stop.
Yeah, you could easily make that now if you wanted to, but
all
right, well, that's our homework, Jay. We'll do some digging and reconvene next week. But
all I have to say is this.
Okay.
There's more questions that lead to it didn't happen to proof that it did happen, because the only proof, like 100% proof you have, is that there's a picture of him holding a sign that says 100. That's the only actual proof you have. Because all those old guys that say, I was there, I passed him the ball, it was pretty incredible, they don't know how many points he had. Do you know how many points each one of your teammates had when you're playing a game? Not unless someone tells you. You don't. And Wilt was notorious for walking off the court and saying, hey, I got 4 points there. Hey, I got 7 rebounds there. And the scorekeeper, oh, okay. And marking it down, because go look at the scorekeeper's thing. He didn't do it while the game was on. We've never seen that one. We saw a really nicely written out one, and then we saw a typed up one. You know that they weren't typing it. You saw that scorecard where it's typed up? That's not real. You think they typed it? Come on.
That's not what happened. No, that's not what happened. But he was actually there. We know that the game happened. At the end of the third quarter, Chamberlain has 60. I think he has 69 points at the end of the third quarter, something like that. So that's documented footage that he had 69 points at the end of the third. So
why didn't he have? It's not documented. Why didn't he have a picture of him holding the scorecard at the end of the game? Why was it just a thing that said 100? Because look, do you believe in 1962 that was the scorecard?
Yeah.
Why can't that be the scorecard, Tom? Why?
You think they were typing it up as they went along?
No. How about at the end of the Why is that ridiculous? That at the end of the game, why at the end of the game
someone had to go type it up?
right?
They
Because it's
wrote it and then probably
1962.
transferred it into like that, a more, formal. I'm sure that was pretty normal.
But that's what I'm saying is that's not the scorecard. Is my point. That was just a typed up after the fact.
Did they take photos of every scorecard?
Of
No.
course they did. Of course they did. How do you think they kept a record of it?
No, I'm asking, do you think you can go find photos of every game of every season,
Yes.
pictures of the score, but you can't find one of that one?
Not this one. Correct.
Okay. All right, let's move on. We're never going to agree on this, and that's okay. We can't hear it. No, we can't hear it too well, Jay. But no, it's okay.
I did a whole video on it too. Don't even
Chad, go watch both.
How many free throws he took, which it's actually impossible that he took that many free throws on that many fouls unless
unless you can prove that it didn't happen. So I already know that the game for a fact happened. I already know that. So other than that, you can't prove anything else that didn't happen because I know for a fact that the game happened. There's documented evidence. There's documented evidence of the people there. Not only is it documented evidence of the people there, it's documented evidence of the people who actually played in the game. The scorekeeper, the players.
And you know what the scorekeeper said? You know what the scorekeeper said?
I needed a 100-point game. I needed a 100-point game from Wilt, like I needed another hole in my head. That's what he said.
He also said there were so many points being scored that game that sometimes I lost track and just gave it to Wilt.
Which means that it could have very well been 105 or 110 that Wilt had.
It could have been 70.
Or it could have been 95 that he had. But 100% it was more than 81. 100% it was.
I think it was max I'll give him is 80.
Of course you're gonna give him 80. How about give him 79, Tone? And you know the minimum I'll give him? I'll give him 82. How about that?
It's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Yeah, do you guys know what the most points scored by Wilt Chamberlain in an actual recorded game is? So I guess his second most.
He was like 70.
78. 78. Because after he scored that 100, if I'm not mistaken, after he scored that 100, it was now mandatory that like we got to make sure that we had every game.
Oh yeah, but it was also before too.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, go back to his earlier games. They were recording those ones too. Just coincidentally, this one that was a publicity stunt, by the way. Let's be clear. Why were they playing in Hershey, Pennsylvania? A publicity stunt to get more people into the NBA. It was advertised as a publicity stunt.
It doesn't mean that it didn't happen though, because we know for a fact that it did.
I agree that the game happened 100%.
Yes, it did.
And maybe it was rigged. Maybe they said you're scoring 100 tonight, and we're going to make sure that happens. Then would you admit
that
to
might
it?
be the only way.
Even if that's true, H, that happened. Let's just say the sake argument that it's rigged. That still happened.
Yeah.
We're gonna rig this game tonight, and you scoring 100 tonight, Will.
Yeah.
169 to 147. Like, give me a break. Give me a break.
All right, you guys. Let's move on. We're gonna
You were saying, H, I'm sorry.
No, we're good. We're good. We're gonna do rapid fire, and for our first headline, we have one surrounding LeBron James. It says 2 mystery teams believe that LeBron James would consider signing with them if they were to draft Bronny James. He said, I know of at least 2 teams on the NBA map that believe LeBron James would consider signing with them at far less than $51.4 million if Bronny James is on the roster. Okay, so this is where we're at. Apparently, they've hinted at 2 NBA teams that LeBron would consider. And I imagine in LeBron's mind, when he's considering teams, he's considering where is the best place for my son. Like he's going to try to, set some sort of a platform for Bronny to get a jump start on. So obviously we don't know the 2 teams that he's referring to. But you guys have any thoughts on which 2 teams that could be?
Well, let's eliminate some teams, H. Like he's not moving to Portland. He's not moving to Detroit. He's not moving to San Antonio. He's not moving to Washington. Definitely not moving to Charlotte or Toronto or Boston.
I know the 2 teams, but keep going.
Or Oklahoma City. I don't think that he's going there. Or Utah.
Not Minnesota.
No, he's not moving to Minnesota.
You're wrong on that one.
Which one?
Utah.
I can't see him moving to Utah. I can't see it.
I can't.
unless if he's moving to Utah and they're going to work with this kid and it's not just a 1-year thing where it's just a publicity stunt, like you say, like you talked about with Chamberlain. Like this is going to be, he's going to be in Utah for some time and he's going to get acclimated and he's going to learn the game and he's going to be in Utah for some years, as opposed to he's only in Utah for a year, James leaves, and then the next year, James is out the league.
He's out the league.
Bronny James is out of the league.
Why did Michael Jordan play for the Washington Wizards?
Because he had there was some upper management promises to him. He was promised some ownership stake.
No, he had ownership stake. He had ownership stake. They were in the bottom 3 in attendance. They needed attendance. They bring him in. They boost attendance. But to do that, he has to sell his ownership stake back to the owner, who then screws him, never sells it back. So, who is a part owner of the Utah Jazz? LeBron James, Dwayne Wade. What is LeBron James's end goal? To own the Las Vegas team.
Right.
So I go to Utah. I help out Dwayne Wade as a friend. I make it the place to be. Me and my son get to play together. We boost up the attendance. We get a bunch of stuff. I get some experience in the head office because my best friend's the owner. I'm going to be up in the, not that he's not already, but even more so up in those meetings and understanding of what all that goes into owning a franchise. My son gets to be in an environment where not much is expected in terms of winning because it's Utah, right? I know that Wade is there. There's good young coaching in Will Hardy, in our guy, Scott Morrison. There's a nice young player in Lauri Markkanen. So it's a nice kind of safe environment as well. There's not the glitz, the glamour. There's not the media hype around him. It's actually the perfect situation for him to learn the business and for his son to learn the game. It's actually the perfect scenario. And then it's a nice, guess what? It's a nice little, it's not that long of a trip to Vegas from Utah. It's not that far. It's beautiful.
Are you suggesting that we hide James in Salt Lake City? Are you serious right now?
Yeah, when you said no.
Is that what you get there? Because there's no way that we're hiding him in Utah. The media coverage with him going to Utah will go through the roof.
Yeah.
It will go through the roof, Tom.
Yeah.
It's not
LA.
Los
Angeles.
So you're going to get that amount with Bronny and LeBron.
Right, which makes it worse, eh? Absolutely.
It's going to be the new LA.
No, you can walk. That's a lie because you live there and you
as
know.
Far as media,
you can walk downtown Salt Lake City, and no one's batting an eye. Like, please give me a break.
We're not talking about now. We're talking about when those two are. If those two were to be on the team,
I don't care if it's Karl Malone, John Stockton, Michael Jordan walked to the pizza joint and got bubble guts. Give me a break. You can do that. That being said, the other is the polar opposite of Utah. The other option is the polar opposite of the Utah, and I think it's New York.
Yeah.
The Knicks.
I think he wants to go to New York just because of New York. Like, I think LeBron knows why he went to LA for the production company, New York for the press and all that other stuff going on. I think those are
have we factored in that we actually have to live in these places? Like, this is not just, like I'm only coming in here for games and then I'm flying back to Los Angeles. No, I actually have to live.
Of course he is. You don't have to live there anymore. Especially Utah. You don't got to live there. It's a hop, skip, not even a jump away from LA. And you're only there for practice and 40 games. You're there like half of a season. There's
no way that's happening. He's got to live there. He has to live in Utah. There's no way that's happening.
He can live in Vegas.
Just like he has to live in New York. He has to live there.
No, New York is different, but I think if he's making the move to Vegas to own that team, like Utah to Vegas is not
like a lot of balls to juggle to just like get everything picture perfect. Like, how much of this is realistic? I hear you, and
my understanding is LeBron's great at juggling balls.
It's about it's about a 5-hour ride, Tone, from Salt Lake City to Vegas. I've taken it. I've taken it before. It's about a 5-hour ride.
They're probably taking a chopper, hour and a half. They're good.
I believe it's a 58-minute flight because
there you go.
West from Salt Lake City to Vegas, Southwest. They have shuttles actually.
They're not taking Southwest.
No, I'm just saying that's what I remember from
LeBron. Yeah, if I see LeBron on the airline, I'm gonna give him some money because there's. I know he's cheap. That's crazy.
What are the two teams? Are you with Fluent on this? Are there two other teams that kind of, spark your interest?
Oh, that was supposed to be rapid fire? My bad.
I could see him in Orlando. I could see him in Orlando. I could see that working. And Cleveland too. I hate Cleveland, but I could see him going back to Cleveland.
He would go back?
I could for his boy, hell yes. Hell yeah. And what that would do for media coverage? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Even though I think it would screw the Cleveland, I think it would screw Cleveland up.
Yeah.
I think it would straight screw them up for what they're trying to build right now. But I think he would go back to Cleveland. Yeah, I do think that.
Very LeBron-esque though. What? Okay. Okay. All right. Our next topic, Jay. This was
very important. Go.
No, you're good. Next topic was kind of interesting to me, Jay. Now that the trade deadline is over and we've heard some of the, I guess, rumors that were confirmed, like, oh, the Warriors were looking at Alex Caruso. Well, another rumor that came out is that Kyle Kuzma, so the Dallas Mavs had shown some interest in him. And apparently he says, no, I'm good. I want to stay with the Wizards and I want to help them rebuild. How much of that do you think is true? Do you think basically what it came down to was it wasn't the money he was expecting or the security he would have wanted? Or do you really think he's bought into this Wizards team? Well, because I feel like anybody would take a ticket out of Washington, but maybe I'm wrong.
Well, anybody would take a ticket out of Washington if you were trying to win. And we got to remember who Kyle Kuzma is. He was on the world champion Los Angeles Lakers in the 1920 season. 2019-2020 season. He was a starter on that championship team. So with that being said, I mean, he's not ring chasing anymore. He already did that. So now it's just a matter of, can I collect checks? Can I maximize my earning power and be a good player, as good a player as I can be while I'm here in Washington? Not everybody wants to play with Luka. Luka is very ball dominant. Luka is very very difficult to play with Luka, contrary to popular belief. And to now relegate my role to being off the basketball, not scoring as much, which is going to mess with his bottom line. In the process of that messing with his bottom line, he's not going to get paid as much. I don't think this guy is ring chasing, man. I don't think he's interested in that. He's 29. I think he'll be 29 next season. So I think he's got probably, in terms of earning power, Tone, I think he's got one more big contract ahead of him. And I think he's doing that. I don't think everybody that comes into the league, is not coming into the league wanting to be KD. Everybody that comes into the league is not coming into the league wanting to be LeBron James or Luka. Yeah. No. There's plenty of guys that come into the league going, yo, I'm going to play 10 years. I'm going to play 12 years. I'm going to make X amount of money. If I get on a championship team, that's great. And then I'm out. And I think that's where Kyle Kuzma is. And I think that at the end of that next contract, I think maybe we could get a couple 1-year deals here and there where he can jump on a crew and maybe help them as a vet. But I don't see this as an issue with him not being interested in playing with Luka. I don't see that. I don't see that being an issue.
Speaking of playing with Luka, who did I say was the most important pickup at the trade deadline? Gafford. And I know it's only one game, but did you see what he did last night? 16 points, 17 rebounds, 5 blocks.
2 games.
Yeah, I know, but what he did last night?
Oh, you're talking about last night in particular.
16, 17, and 5.
Well,
talk
remember,
about
Tone.
Right in. Love it.
Remember, Tone, that, don't get me wrong, I think he is absolutely what you were the one who told me that Lively comes out of that lineup and he goes in the lineup. Lively comes over and he goes in. But we do have to remember, against Oklahoma City and against Washington, 2 of the worst front lines in the league. So it's going to look a little bit different. That's not to say that he's not exactly what they're looking for, but this could also be a momentum build. This could definitely be a momentum build, sure.
You always do stuff at the right moment. So, for example, you don't fire your coach in Milwaukee when you're about to go on a West Coast trip and have a bunch of tough games. You do it when you have games against Washington and Charlotte and Detroit.
That doesn't make more sense. 100%. Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So Gafford gets to come in and get some in front lines and do his thing. Yes. Do you have another? Because the reason I made that face was I remembered something from last week that I wanted to talk about. But if we have more subjects,
go ahead. Go ahead. The last thing, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, I don't even remember. Go ahead.
You
It's
don't
just
remember?
going to be about Doc Rivers, but I'll ask you at the end.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So last week, if you remember, Jay had asked me to talk him off the ledge, right, about the Cavs, and I said they're a
Talk me
fraud.
off the train, Tone. Talk me off this Cleveland train. Do it.
Well, you use the term "talk you off the ledge," so let's stick with that for a second, because you said "talk me off the ledge," and I said no, the Cavs are frauds. You better jump. And then what I did that right after that show was there was a Cavs game on, so I watched that game, and then I've been watching the Cavs since, and I went and saw them in person against a certain team here up north, and really paid attention to the Cavs, and I just all I got to say is,
what the hell you doing in there?
Wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could
Uh-oh.
cut ties with all the lies that
Uh-oh.
you've been living in. And if
I'm on board. I'm on board.
He's in.
Wow.
Notice
Really?
Cavs are
Notice
legit.
in. Notice
Cavs
in.
are legit. I've been very, very impressed with the Cavs. I'm in. Don't step. Yes, step in off that ledge, my friend. We're in the room together. We're on the Cavs. They have been very impressive.
What
and
about
they
them? Like what especially?
hard.
Yeah,
They
like
play hard. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they're even when they're like they just lost a game that they probably should have won, but even in that game, like I want to say it was against the Sixers. It was the Sixers game, and they don't have Embiid, and they're missing players, but go look. Tobias Harris was out. The Sixers, if you go look at their 3-point shooting, it was ridiculous. But take it a step further, go watch that game. They were playing hard. They were contesting those shots. The Sixers just got hot. And in this NBA, if a team gets hot and you're contesting and they're just making tough shots over good coverage, there's nothing you can do. So this team is legit. And in the games that, like I said, there's times when you watch games and you'll see guys loafing a little bit. No, they're pushing each other. They're playing hard. I was really, because listen, how many Cavs games are you watching? One here or there. But after we had that conversation, I was like, let me take a closer look, because that's what I do. I always like to take a closer look and go watch them in person, because I feel like you get a different perspective. Man,
Before the season started, I thought before the season started, I thought this was a top 3 seed in the East. Tone, you talk about teams taking the jump every season. You talk about that all the time. You're an advocate of teams taking the jump. And I felt like what I saw with Cleveland last year in the playoffs, I felt like these young guys, what they had and what they experienced playing against the Knicks, I felt like this year they would take that jump. Not saying that this team is going to win the NBA championship. No, I'm not going that far. I'm not doing that. But I felt like that they would be better. I thought they were a top 3 seed in the East. I thought Donovan Mitchell would be better. I thought Evan Mobley, before he got hurt, he was my defensive player of the year. I think that he's got potential to be the best defensive player in the game. With this crew, with getting Max Strus, who I'm not a big fan of, but I feel like him stretching the defense. Karis LeVert also stretching the defense and getting downhill, being one of the best rotation players. With Jared Allen, who I thought should have been an all-star.
Yeah,
I was looking at this crew. With looking at this crew, Tone, I'm thinking to myself, these dudes gonna make a lot of noise. And what you saw against the Knicks last year, you're not gonna see that again this year. You're gonna see a different crew. And to your point, one of the things that they do this year that they didn't do last year, they play a lot harder. A lot harder.
I don't think you're gonna see Mitchell leave. Everyone's talking about Mitchell to the Lakers and Mitchell this. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's
especially if they make a deep run, Tone. Especially if they make a deep run.
This team, like when you look at Mobley and those guys, they're young. So just quickly, I love my trivia. So I'm going to play that clip one more time. I want you to, there's 2 movies in this, 2 movie referenced. They're the balloons. Please tell me if you know which 2 movies are in this. I'll play it for you one more time.
What the hell you doing in there?
Oh, absolutely. I know what this is. That's Jim Carrey, by the way. And
well, that's cool.
this movie is called Yes Man.
Yes Man.
Yeah, this movie is called Yes Man, and that's Bad Boys right there. That's Martin Lawrence.
Bad Boys for life. I took even though you're 6'4" and I'm 6'3", I did take the taller of the two. I took Will Smith. I felt the complexion.
And I do want to put it out there, Tone. I'm not happy with Bitmoji because they changed the Bitmoji, and that does not look like me. And it made me nuts that they changed it because I was like, "Yo, man, that doesn't look like me. What y'all doing?"
Yeah, I tried to add the grays in, but I'm
that was a masterpiece.
I'm limited on time. No,
that was good. That was good.
I think it was pretty good.
All right, chat. We have 5 more minutes, so if you have any.
Hey, for graphic design, please reach out to Anthony K at sportslone.com.
Talk to this dude right here. Y'all think that? Y'all talk to this dude right here. He is serious. He will hook you up. This dude right here.
Heck yeah.
Hey, JD, if you're watching, I saw it. I can give you some tips, but I know you're working on it. But I recreated JD's in 15 seconds, and mine looked better. But hey, I'm here to help, JD. I'm here to help. Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. We're going to run late because of my...
No, we're not running late at all. Last thoughts. Obviously Woj came out, and the Hornets have dropped all the criminal counts against Bridges. Thoughts on that? A lot of people are pretty upset with that. I
the
think,
Hornets did?
No, the charges against him were dropped.
Charges against him.
The Hornets reported that
Hornets
those charges
investigated.
against him.
Yeah.
Yes, and all those charges against him were dropped.
Thoughts on that, and just what does this do for the league, or what does this say to the league?
Well, first, Tone, I want to say shout out to Miles Bridges for vetoing any trades. Shout out to him because what you're not going to.
Shout out to Rich Paul for getting a player like is a no trade or a veto trade clause.
Absolutely, absolutely, 100%. Because what you're not going to do, Tone, in a contract year when I'm averaging 22 a game and 8 rebounds. You're not shipping me to Phoenix where that 22 and 8 goes to 8 and 6 in a contract year. No, I'm not trying to hear that. Absolutely not. So shout out to Miles Bridges for not trying to hear that. And I'm not interested in any trade. I'm going to stay right here. I'm going to get my numbers. So this is what I'm going to negotiate. Sure, H. I didn't appreciate what he did, right? I did not appreciate what he did.
Allegedly.
And it got dealt with, allegedly, right? But it got dealt with, right? It got dealt with. And now it is what it is. He's back to work. Right, he's back to work, and in the process of him being back to work, he got himself back in the Charlotte Hornets lineup, and he's doing work. He's absolutely doing work. I think we have a tendency to roast guys who do bad things, but then they fess up to it, take accountability, but then we move on from it because they paid for it. Like he shouldn't have to pay for the rest of his life. He shouldn't have. Don't get me wrong. He was wrong for what he did, allegedly, Tone. He was wrong for that, 100%. But if we getting back to basketball, right? If we getting back to basketball, he paid for what he did. He's back to getting work. He's back to doing work. And in the process of him doing work, he's not trying to hear any trades. And I dig that. He's very smart about his business. Yeah, he's very smart about his business. I love the fact that the Miami Heat are actually blowing Milwaukee out.
Which is exactly, which just goes to your point. So I haven't watched carefully
don't ever
Bucks games. So what are your guys' thoughts on Doc? Like, what is it? Is this a him issue?
No, Doc can't fix bad defense.
He can't, yo.
Did they make a trade? Who did they trade for?
They got Patrick Beverly, but
they got Pat Beverly.
Oh yeah.
I don't know that he's playing.
Pat Beverly is the answer. Yep.
Yeah, he
played for the Super Chat winter.
He played 10. He played 10 minutes, so he's not playing enough. But what did I tell you about the Heat? Don't count out the Heat because they're a team that when they just want to turn it on, they can, and that's crazy. And the Bucks have no perimeter defense. Let's take a look. Let's just for as they say, poops and giggles. Who's torching them? Duncan Robinson from 3. Jovic, although he's a forward, he's 8 of 11 from 3. Bam Adebayo, 5 of 7 from 3. Excuse me.
Bam.
Robinson is 6 of 8 from 3. Right.
Bam.
Bam. Yeah, Bam. But even Bam, he's got 16. But the two highest scorers are Robinson and Jovic. Who are killing them from the outside. Heck, even Kevin Love is 4 of 5 from 3. They're just draining threes on them because they have no perimeter defense. And it doesn't matter who I told you this. You can bring Red Auerbach back. You can't, if the team doesn't play defense, doesn't buy into defense. And here's the funny part. I think I know what happened with Adrian Griffin. Adrian Griffin was coaching like me. He was throwing chairs and yelling and screaming and telling them, "You guys don't play. You don't play. You better start playing defense." And they said, "Well, then we want you out." And they all started crying.
The
like
players,
the players, like a bunch of little Karen. And they got him fired. And now they're walking all over Doc and still not playing defense. And this team's going to be a first-round knockout. Done. It's a wrap.
I'm not sure that they're going out in round one, Tone, but the way that this team is presently constructed, they're not winning the NBA championship. They're not.
Yeah. But I think we all said I didn't think that immediately. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, Dame and Giannis have to win this season." I don't think so. I think they can, but it's
a 3-year window. It's a 3-year window. I think it is. I think the next 3 years they have to do it.
Maybe even 2. But I agree.
If the season ended today, they're playing the Pacers in round 1, and they can't beat the Pacers. Not on a Sunday, not on a Tuesday, not on a Thursday. They're done. And this is a team that's better now with Siakam, who's going to run right by that defense. They're done. They're done.
Yeah, that would be ugly. And what does that do to Giannis? Like his mental. Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. But
they just got to. They have to fix their perimeter defense in the offseason. That's what they have to do. I don't think this wrecks them. I don't think that they're a team that now goes in the tank. No, I don't think that happens. However, to get bounced in round 1, 2 straight years, we can't. With
the trade like Dame.
No, we can't get bounced in round 1 2 years in a row.
You got to make it to the conference.
Can I ask you a question though? So when they falter, because listen, that's if they end up 3rd, they might fall even further. When they get bounced in round 1, do they keep Doc or do they fire Doc?
Fire him. You shouldn't have got him in the first place.
So they're going to pay 4 coaches. So they're going to be paying for 4 coaches next year.
What kind of business is this, Tom? What are we doing? What's happening right now?
Get the first guy back. Get Coach Bud back. I don't know why you let him.
What are we doing, Tom?
I know Giannis watches the show and Thanasi watches the show, and I know they're playing, but when they watch the replay of this, if I may, Giannis, πάρε μου τηλέφωνο ότι είναι λάθος, θα το φτιάξω. Εντάξει, θα το φτιάξουμε μαζί. Άιντε. Okay.
Facts.
A little message for Giannis to give me a call so we can fix this together is what I told him.
Okay, good. All right, you guys. Great show today. I know that energies is a little bit weird, but because of the Niners, at least on my part. So I apologize.
Oh, I thought the energy was great because you know what I feel about the Niners losing?
We do not care.
Bears up next. What? Hey. Oh man.
We both won the Super Bowls this year.
How about the Miami Heat blowing out Milwaukee?
What's the score?
They're up by 30.
30.
In what quarter? Third?
Fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, they're up by 30.
And all the starters are playing.
Oh yeah, everybody's playing. Yeah,
it's in Milwaukee. They're up by 30.
Down to 29.
Jimmy's not even playing, right? Because his father.
Who's not playing? No buckets. Yeah, no buckets. No buckets.
Oh man, that's
no buckets.
That's a wrap. That's a wrap for the Bucks. That's a wrap.
Absolutely. And by the way,
that's a wrap.
You guys doubted Warriors are above 500. Jay.
The Warriors are 10th and coming on strong. Aren't they the hottest team? Longest winning streak in the West? 5 straight?
Yes, sir. I don't know if that's
gentlemen,
the longest.
We got to bounce, ladies and gentlemen. We got to go.
Okay.
Just saying. Up Nation in the house.
Oh, wow.
And by the way, this second half, the last 28 minutes, Tone, you know how I go about the 27 games, 28, 27 games. The last 28 games, I think they got the easiest schedule in the league. The Warriors.
That's right.
So if these dudes end up in like the 5 spot, my call might be wrapped around my call might be wrapped around a telephone pole.
I think they're only 4 games out of 6th.
Haters gonna hate.
Can we see Warriors Cavs again in the finals?
Yes, sir.
I can't handle it. I'm not sure if I can handle it.
Because let's be honest, if the Warriors make it to the playoffs, it's a different story. So
it's a playoff team.
We haven't even discussed if the Warriors win it this year. I might have to take these headphones off and y'all won't see me again.
They look like the Splash Brothers. They look like the Splash Brothers last night. They definitely look like the Splash Brothers last night. Fluent Jr. was loving it.
At the anything I said about these dudes, and for them to do that,
they heard you.
Would have to, oh my goodness. I would have to come on here and eat a mountain high of crow. I would have to do that. This how high the crow is, and then I would have to eat. I would have to do it. I'm not prepared to do that, H. I'm not.
Get ready, Jay. You might have to.
You're ready.
Alrighty, guys.
Listen, if everyone's doing nothing, go. It's 10 o'clock. Go check out the Hoopstorians on Sports Fluent YouTube, and go check out last night's episode. There was a guy that swore Jordan wasn't a top 100, and when he explained why, and I said that was the dumbest thing I ever heard, he just hung up and left the show. So he didn't want to stay.
Which he should have.
He didn't want to stay.
Which he should have. It's the goofiest logic. I couldn't even handle it.
That was not clickbait, but go check it out. I think he lasted.
It was
10
the
minutes.
goofiest logic that I ever heard. Like, get your ass out of here. So,
All right, you guys. We'll see you next week.
yes, sir. Take it light, but take it.